You're getting like, oh, dang.
She's getting right on me.
There's a couple channels where you might lose your temper.
It's a different format, it's a different concept, but I want you guys to understand that you guys are going to be kind of teaching each other. You guys see a technique from now on and be able to like dive into that technique and really evaluate it. You know, are you looking at it from a student point of view, or are you looking at it from a coaching point of view? So what are you here for, and what do you want to get out of the mastery class? That's what we're going to start with. You guys are going to have roughly 5 minutes to write all that in, and then we're going to come together and discuss it. Are you done?
Yeah. Fast.
Page 2, we're not on yet.
Oh.
Already messed up the...
I haven't been to school in 30 years. So, follow directions.
All right, my name's Steve. I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for about 4 years. Prior grappling experience, wrestled through high school and then did some intramural wrestling in freshman and sophomore year of college. As far as foot locks go, I know the straight ankle lock. Feel pretty comfortable with that, 7-8. I'm sure there's some things on there I could work on and learn. Besides that, mess with heel hooks a little bit, so very basic knowledge, 1 or 2 on that. I can identify it if it gets put on me and know to tap. Toe hold, we played with that a little bit. I can recognize it, familiar with it. Don't know a lot of things about that either. Reason I'm here is just to increase my knowledge and understanding of the basics with leg locks and things like that, and just increase my knowledge.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Scott. Like Steve, Steve and I basically started BJJ about the same time, so 4 years. My footlock ranking and knowledge is very limited at this point, although it's increasing with Carr and the rest of the guys in my gym. I rate myself, I have straight ankle locks, heel hooks, and toe holds, but I rank myself really low. So straight ankle, I'm about a 3.25. So I like to throw the quarter in there just to kind of be silly, but the heel hooks, I'm about 2.25, and a toe hold of 2, which means I know what it feels like to get it put on you, but I'm not very good at executing it. What I'm looking for out of this BJJ Boost class is I'm looking to gain some better understanding and confidence to execute the submission.
Andrew Carr. I've been doing grappling for about 6 years now. Everything they said, straight ankles, inside, outside heel hooks, toe holds. I'm just going to rate myself at a 5 on everything because there's always room for improvement. I would like to improve my entries into those positions and the ability to explain that to the students better, because I can do the moves and I can get to the positions, but it's harder for me to reiterate that to them to make them understand it better. So I'd like to be able to communicate better to the students and also improve my game being here. So.
My name is Joe Taylor. I have been grappling for about 12 years, 5 of that in Jiu-Jitsu. As far as footlocks go, my straight ankle, I'm most confident with that, probably about a 5 or a 6. Toe hold, about a 1. I really don't understand the toe holds at all. Knee bar, I understand a little bit better, about a 2. And then I've been getting into heel hooks because I've been working saddle a lot recently. So I'd rank that at about a 4. It's starting to make more sense, heel hooks are. The reason I came is because I want to get more comfortable with leg locks and defenses to leg locks so I can move up the next level in competition.
My name is Robert Atchison. I've been doing jiu-jitsu about 4 to 5 years. Before that, I trained MMA at a couple gyms for a few years. As far as ankle locks, straight ankle lock, I'd give it about a 5. I'm maybe average at it. Toe holds, I know them and I can use them, but I'm not good at them. Probably a 3. Same with heel hooks. I've used the Aoki lock and I know it, but I'm not proficient with it. Probably a 2. What I'm looking to get out of this class is I'd like to learn some good entries and control mechanics, and to be able to explain it to other students a lot easier because I struggle with the small technical details.
My name's Ernie Bolin, and I've been doing martial arts for about 15 years, but I've primarily been in Taekwondo and Karate. That's where I have my black belts in. As far as Judo and Jiu-Jitsu, I've been a part-timer for about 3 or 4 years. And as far as leg locks and toe locks, and also if I know 0, I know when to tap and holler for my mother. That's about it. And just like the other class, I come here, I've gone away each time with something that stays in my toolbox and comes up that I'm able to use and see, so I've gained something each time. That's what I'm hoping to do here, learn 1 or 2 techniques that I can practice and build with. I believe that's what a lot of it is. It isn't about, you know, knowing everything. It's called practice, practice, practice. And each class I've been here to, I've gained something to build off on.
My name's Mike Field. I've been doing Jiu-Jitsu for about 10 years now. I had a little bit of Korean martial arts for a couple years in Wisconsin before that. I know foot locks directly related to the foot. I guess the straight ankle, I get about a 7, you know, usually if I can get in there. I've had a lot of good training over the last 10 years down here on that. The heel hook and toe hold, I'm about a 3 on those. I can get to them, I can finish them, but I'm still relatively new to those. And I know a few others, but not enough to even list, being that I've drilled them a day or two, looked at them a day or two, might have hit one, you know, on a lower ranked person, but I'm just down here trying to get as strong a base possible to figure out leg locks over the next 2 or 3 years, or longer. You know, it seems like everything evolves so fast that you gotta get the base in as fast as possible, drill it as much as possible, and then keep learning as everybody changes it.
I'm Tyler Gordon. I've been doing jiu-jitsu like probably a little over 4 years, about 5 years. With YouTube experience before. I think my straight ankle locks are probably 7 to 8. Toe holds 5 or 6. Heel hooks about 7 to 8. I want to work more on transitioning off of heel hooks to ankle lock to toe hold, be able to transition in between all that. So that's what I'm here.
I'm Haley Prince. I've been wrestled for 3 years, jiu-jitsu for 5 years now. I'd rank my ankle lock 5 and a heel hook of 3. Those are basically the only 2 leg locks I know for right now. And what I look to attain in this class is confidence and better communication and explaining the techniques and getting more specific in the techniques to help me understand the submission more and also the counter mechanics too as well. And then that will also help me to teach that to other people too as well. And then I'm just looking to learn more about ankle locks, heel hooks, all kinds of different foot submissions, and how to exactly get into those with my entries and stuff. So that's why I am here.
Hi, I'm Dustin. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 7 years. With the straight ankle lock, I feel like I'm around a 6. Heel hook, around a 4, and I have no toe hold experience. The only thing I feel somewhat confident about is evading them. That's from rolling with Tyler all the time. So I've practiced getting out of them, but as far as implementing them, I'm always trying to get out of his, so I don't have time to actually do them. And I want to build up that arsenal of actually being on offense instead of defense.
That's a pretty nice mustache. Hello, my name is Brandon Wells. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for, I don't know, maybe about 8 years or so now. And I'm not too great at the leg locks. That's definitely probably the weakest part of my game overall. That's kind of why I'm here. I want to expand that and be able to teach it to people a little better too, and just understand especially the setups and the entries into those positions. Like the ankle lock, I feel like I'm about a 5. I know how to finish it and I know how to teach it decently, but I don't have any expert kind of setups or entries into it. The heel hook, I'd say, is even a couple levels lower than that, about a 3. I know how to do it a little bit. I've tapped a couple of people with it, but I couldn't really show you any advanced ways to set it up or to execute it. The knee bar, I'm a little bit better. I'd say about another point higher than the heel hook, about a 4. The toe hold, probably around the heel hook, about a 3. I don't have any expert setups or any consistent ways to get to it. And then like the calf slicer, like nothing, like a 1. The Aoki lock, I heard someone else mention, that's a great one too. I've done that a couple of times, maybe like a 2. So after this, I would just like to have a lot better entries and setups into these kind of more advanced leg positions.
My name's Mike Donaker. I've been doing jiu-jitsu for about 10 years. I don't have any grappling experience prior to that. All of my experience has been pretty much as a hobbyist, no real serious competition background or anything. As far as the footlocks, I know straight ankle, I know toe hold, I know what a heel hook is. I would say those three, I'm maybe a 3 out of 10. If I can fall into place, I can sometimes finish it against somebody who doesn't have very good defense, but I can't set them up at all. I don't have any paths to get to those positions. What I'm looking for today is to recognize the openings that present themselves to create leg entanglements, or to maybe even force an opening by knowing how to get to those positions. Improve my ability to finish a lead lock when I have the correct position. I want to be able to better recognize the details for setting up the position and finishing the leg lock, so that when someone else has me in that position, I can better defend it by knowing what they're looking to do. And then I want to improve my ability to explain leg lock positions and finishing details to my training partners. So if it comes up when we're practicing and they've got a detail wrong, maybe I'll be able to help them finish their locks better in the future.
My name's Marlena. I've been doing it for about 3.5 to 4 years. Last year I kind of dropped off training pretty significantly, kind of picked it up last month or so. Again, ankle locks, heel hook, toe holds, I'm pretty much a 1 on all of that stuff. I'm familiar with them. I've drilled them here and there, but I don't really know a whole lot about them. I'm looking to improve my skill set, expand my toolbox, gain more confidence, be able to help some of the newer people coming in, and that's about it.
My name's Elijah. I've been training for a little over a year now. I'd say most of my success with leg locks would be with straight ankles. I'd give myself probably about a 6 to 6.5. My knee bars, I'd give a 2. I'm not too great at them. Toe holds, I don't really know too much about them. I'd give myself a 1. Heel hooks, it just varies depending on the position, but I'd say a 4 to a 5 on heel hooks. And I'm just looking to improve my ability to execute in competition and just my confidence overall in finishing these techniques and being able to implement them into my training.
How many people like that and didn't like that? You didn't like it?
Well, it was nice to get to know a little bit of background on everything.
Right. That's the one thing I've liked about this is
I was not born a public speaker of any sort.
I think that's one of my hardest things is like getting in front of people and speaking. I know that sounds funny, but I think everybody gets nervous. It's amazing to me how people can stand in front of 20,000 people and do so well, because I feel like it's an area that I struggle at greatly, and that's the reason I want to do this, because now I get in front of you guys and I have to speak. And then I think for being a leader, running a gym, doing all that stuff, you have to get more confident in that. So the more you put yourself out there, the better you get at it. The scores that you guys gave on your techniques, right? That's for you. So think about it in this way. The reason I like you introducing yourselves to each other is, one, you take off kind of like the competitiveness towards each other, right? Because it's like, well, if this person's got 10 years and you've got 2 years, whatever the case is, you don't compare yourself to that person anymore. But I think sometimes when we enter in a room, we start trying to compare ourselves to everyone in that room, and then we start holding ourselves to like this fake reality instead of just like enjoying our own journey, if that makes sense. So when we compare ourselves to others, we start to set ourselves up for failure. But like when we just realize that we all struggle in these areas together, we can kind of grow. So the score that I want you guys to think about, and applying this to all of your jiu-jitsu, this is not just for the leg lock part of it, but this is what I want you to think about when you enter the room to train or teach, is give yourself a score in that area, right? So like some people, let's say straight ankle lock said that there were 5, okay? Doesn't matter. The number has nothing to do with anybody else's number. It's your number, okay? So now next week when I show up, am I still a 5 or am I a 6? Am I going up in my knowledge or am I going down, right? It's really simple. Like if we track what we're doing, then we can improve. So, and it's your journey. So don't put it as like I'm a failure or I'm successful, right? Put it as this week I was a 5 at straight ankle locks, but I did this class, and then after doing this class, I went back to my gym and I practiced the concepts that I worked on. So maybe next week I'm a 6. Now I'm a 6 in straight ankle locks, right? Then the next week, whatever the case is, maybe you didn't learn anything with that straight ankle lock, and you're going down a little, right? Like that number is going to fluctuate every week for you, if that makes sense. And it's just about figuring out how you want to grow your jiu-jitsu, okay? So write these numbers down in your notebook, okay? If you're working on triangles, right? Maybe I'm a 5 this week in triangles, but we're going to work on the core 4, which I want to work on looking at the core 4 of our jiu-jitsu, okay? Inside of every technique. And what that means is like, how much do you drill that technique, okay? Your score will go up or down every week by how much you drill it, how much you live roll it and actually try to track it. So when I'm live rolling, right, you guys learn a new technique and then you go in and you start doing that live technique and then you're like, okay, I can't hit this technique. How many people have done that where they learn a new technique, live rolling, it's impossible, okay? But how often are you trying to actually drill that technique? And then when you're drilling that technique, looking for actual details in it, right? The grip, foot placement, pinching the knees, whatever that is, okay? That's the repetition that comes in. Then the live rolling. How many actual times are you trying to go for a straight ankle lock and live rolling, okay? Because if you track that, okay, I did it 3 times, it failed 3 times, or I did it 100 times in the last 2 weeks, and it worked 5 times. Track your actual growth, and you'll see you having more confidence in it. So how much research do you do? Not just watching a video, not just, hey, I looked up a straight ankle lock video, and I like the way that this does this straight ankle lock, right? Like actually watching the video and then sitting down and saying, you know what? I really noticed that they pinched their knees above their opponent's knee line and they emphasized how much importance that is to be able to actually break my opponent's leg. So I need to make sure that now my research needs to go into my drilling, right? I need to pinch my knees. So how actively am I actually putting my mindset into pinching my knees when I'm drilling? And then how many times am I actually trying this in live rolling and pinching my knees, right? And then the last R is recovery. How much work do you actually put in? I think a majority of us, for the most part, are 30 and up in here, except for maybe like 4 people. So, So how much do you put into learning recovery, taking care of your body, you know, going to a chiropractor, stretching, anything that's actually going to allow your body to do this sport until you're 50? It's important. If you're just existing, if you're just showing up to the mats and just saying, hey, I'm showing up to jiu-jitsu, I'm going to keep doing the same thing, I'm going to drill whatever the professor does, I'm going to joke around with my buddies and then I'm going to go home, that's not a bad thing. But like if you really want to make jiu-jitsu where you're more confident in teaching it, you're better at learning the techniques, you're better at talking through the techniques, right? You're going to have to apply some changes to yourself and not just do the same habits for life. Make sense? So what I want is we're going to go into, it seemed like a lot of people wanted just some understanding of like entries and then the different footlocks, right? So like just going through some of the entries. I'll give you some of my entries. Tyler can give some of his entries. Elijah maybe will have some good entries. If anybody else in the room has some entries that you guys like and you have success with, I want you to share the floor today. Does that make sense? My way is not the only way, okay? So we're going to have a few people share a couple different entries they like and a couple different actual toe hold, heel hook, knee bar, whatever it is, okay? And then you guys are going to break into your groups and you're going to pick the pieces that you like. You don't have to do all of it. Okay? If you're like, you know what, I like the straight ankle lock and that's the only thing that's legal for my level, right? Then I'm just going to go over with my partner and I'm only going to drill the straight ankle lock and look for details in that. Okay? Does everyone kind of understand? Now, here's where it's going to really matter, okay? I want you, as you're drilling and looking for these techniques and seeing people talk about it and seeing people show it, there's going to be something that clicks in your brain that says, I like this, right? There's going to be something in your brain that says, I like this detail, I like what this person did, or I don't like what this person did. I think everyone's had that in their life in some area, right? Whatever you're doing in your life, your brain clicks a little light bulb on, and you're like, that was cool, or I don't want that to ever happen again, right? I want you to go to page 2, and I want you to write that down. okay? As soon as that clicks in your brain for the day, anytime that clicks in your brain for the day, whatever it is, I like the way that this person squeezed my toes and the pressure behind that. I like the way that this person put their foot on my hip and controlled me where I couldn't sit up into them. Whatever that clicks in your brain, you need to write that down, okay? Because that's how we're gonna break down how you're actually gonna start seeing the technique and building the technique, is when you actually have these little things that pop up in your brain, and then we're gonna explore those things and dive into them. Make sense? Anyone have any questions on this? Ready to start doing some stuff? All right, we're gonna start with Tyler.
And then I'll elevate him up, slide one foot down, go around the hip. Like this, I've had the most success with this one, of like all my tournaments. I've hit this so many times. But it's just getting under and then picking them up as soon as you go backwards. As soon as I go back, I pick them up. And then I'm gonna slide wherever foot I want all the way through. Here. If you have trouble with dumping them from up here, I like to go double X. And I'll go here and just dump them straight back. And then this foot, I'll drop it all over to the mat. And finish it.
Okay, so let's do one more time with the entry, okay? And then I want you to explain what you're thinking for the breaking mechanics behind the ankle lock and explain those to everyone.
You mean how to finish?
Yeah, just where you're looking at for generating the most pressure, right? And the most control. So
here, as soon as I go back, I'm keeping my feet tight too. Like I'm not letting him just go like this. It's impossible to lift him. I want to rock myself back and then go straight up. Then I'll grab the foot I want, drop down. I'll muck one up. The best way for me to finish him is if I take this knee over to the edge of the mat, because he's going to have to go that way. So if I go all over here, I like to tuck my elbow behind and squeeze it to my side, and then get this, like the bone in your forearm, right at the heel. So like I'll slide it till you're right there, pinch it back. Then I like to pinch my knees, but I like to put this top foot on the mat. And then almost like anyone can call it. My grip is like this. So as soon as I hit the mat with that knee, then I'm starting to squeeze. A little bit of a
Any questions?
What are you doing with your inside foot? My inside foot? So, let's restart it. So the bottom foot underneath?
What do you left foot?
My left one? So the one I...
No, you're right foot.
Oh. I just leave it. It doesn't come out. Because this doesn't really matter. His escape has to be the roll. Because I'm going to force it when I go that way. Like, yeah, you can finish the ankle lock. I probably straight back, but if I take this left leg over, then he has to go with me. So I don't need that. I mean, I guess this foot stays on the hip, on his leg, and kind of keeps him from going the rest of the way. But other than that, I just try to force the roll to get him to go over, and then I'm here with it. So I guess I use that foot to hold that leg.
Any other questions? Who likes the entry? Okay. And there's no wrong or right answers here, right? Like, don't lie to, and I'm not saying you guys are lying, but like, right? If there's something you're like, I'm never going to do that shit, be honest with that, right? Because it's your game, you're gaining knowledge here. It's not like there's going to be many different entries today, many different techniques. I would rather you get one that you go and want to perfect back at home and get really good at that and hit everyone with that than just trying to like fit in with a sense like that you like something that in your back of your mind you really don't. That's all I'm saying in the class today, right? If there's something that really doesn't stick out to you or something that doesn't work for you that you're like, I don't get it, speak up so that we can modify it so it works for your body type and your game, okay? So this is one entry into the straight ankle lock, right? Butterfly, elevation, straight ankle lock finish, okay? So let's do, Brandon, I want you to do your knee bar that you do.
Okay.
I know that you're not Okay, but remember, no one's perfect at any of these things, but you want to be better at teaching?
I mean, I'll try.
You want to be better at explaining these things, right?
Yeah, like right here, right? I want to keep this knee shield nice and tight. And a lot of times I'm looking for like the shoulder, the kimura, any kind of control like this, right? But a lot of times they resist that, especially if they like sit up tall. It gives me good access to this leg here, this cross leg. I like to try to get completely through it so I can pull it in tight to me as I like extend him away with this knee shield, kind of pushing him away as I pull this in to me. If you can like get enough space to get a foot on him, it's gonna work even better as you push him away. And I'm almost like inverting over, putting my knees down on the mat to kind of get control of this leg. Sometimes I go to the heel with my other hand. Sometimes I just pull it like the ankle. But any way that I can get this extended up off the mat and kind of stretched out, right? So sometimes I pull it here, and as I grab it, I can go this arm through to get to this kind of position, and you can finish right here. Just extending a little bit. You can just hug it straight onto your chest like this, almost like pinching your head to it. It's going to be really good too. Same thing, just hit down a little bit, and you'll get the finish. You can even just like completely send this knee on top of him and knock him over, get all the way on top of it. And just find different ways to control this leg completely after you have him knocked over. And be really wary of your own feet too. Sometimes I leave mine open here and Chad will like toe hold me out of this to beat me. So just be aware of where your feet are through this as well. I'm kind of still trying to learn all the basic mechanics of it. But just getting good control of it, just like the arm bar, right? Once you have it, pinch tight, extend the hips, and it shouldn't take a lot from there, okay? Does anybody have any little questions or anything?
When you're gripping, when you get your hand in there, does your grip matter? Do you go gable grip there?
I'm sure there's going to be a superior grip in there. I'm still kind of new to it as well, like I'm saying. I'm kind of still trying to find all my little intricacies like that. But if I can get under it to here, right? Just like the arm bar here, in the same position you have it underneath your arm, it's so powerful. I mean, you could send this hand all the way through, kind of like a straight ankle grip. You could grab it. I probably wouldn't gable grip here. I'd probably just send it all the way through, like a guillotine grip or an ankle lock grip.
I messed up my question. Back up.
When I'm pulling it out?
When you're diving under
Here?
your right hand,
Yeah, sometimes
where your grip is on right there.
Right here, yeah. I like to go to the gable grip.
Okay.
Or like I said, sometimes I'll, instead of just having this and pulling, because some people are so strong, it's like I just can't get this out from underneath of them. So I like almost have to like go a little bit further and get his foot up off the mat. And that lets me like manipulate it a lot easier than if it's stuck down on the mat. It's like a lot harder to pull this out. So sometimes I'll just lift it up and extend it. And now that it's here, I can really start threatening the finish on it, I think. You okay? Yep. Anybody else? All right. Now that's kind of like my one basic.
All right, so
Leg attack.
one more time.
All right.
Okay, so we have butterfly elevation, straight ankle lock, finish, okay? And then we're going to do this knee bar, okay? So where are we starting at? We're starting
knee
in
shield, half guard knee shield.
Okay.
Right. Keep that knee good and a lot of good pressure because you're going to pull the leg as you push and extend them away with your knee or your foot. The foot's going to work even better, but it's a lot harder to kind of get the space that you need. Okay. And just remember defensively too. Use this shield. If he starts smashing into you, push him away with that. Get that space you need. Right. So you're in knee shield. You're defending. Maybe you get him to posture up. Get that. I guess this is like an underhook, right? Yeah. So hook through the leg. Go to the gable grip if you can. Extend them away with your knee. Lift the heel up off the mat to get it extended as you kind of drive your knees across. Right? Find which position they're giving you to get the finish. Trap it with your head. Get good control of it. Hip through. And get the finish.
Okay, how many people like this one?
Can we do that one more time? Facing this way?
Yeah.
Leg on this side.
So half guard again. Get through the leg. My setup. Hold it in tight. Start pushing them away. Come over. Extend the leg. And now that I'm here, I look to either get it under or straight into my chest. I can even kind of get this style of grip, where I'm almost like weaving around the heel, gripping on my own head, extend the hips through.
Okay? All right, so I know sometimes we can throw a lot of details and that can get very overwhelming, okay? So what I want to do right now is I just want to break into your partners, whatever person you feel like will make a good drilling partner with you, all right? I want you to explore both of these, explore one of these, all right? And then I want you, while you're drilling, to find that one real thing that you feel like you want to start applying in your game or you want to start using in your game. Maybe it's a grip, maybe it's a pinching of the knees, maybe it's a placement of the feet, maybe it's a way that you finish the submission. Whatever it is, I want whatever that one detail that's really clicking your brain or multiple details, and I want you to write it down. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's get into our group. We're going to spend, I'm going to put the timer on. We'll do like about probably 10 minutes of really exploring the technique. You're exploring the technique to learn how to teach that technique better. At the end of class, a lot of you guys are going to have to do a demonstration, okay, on what it is that you like the most out of the whole process today. And you're going to have to explain that to the whole group like you're teaching it, okay? So make sure that you're truly seeking how to gain knowledge and explain those little details that will blow people's minds, right? All right, let's get to work.
Most guys just sort of put back around.
So I like you guys talking, right? Well, I'm just saying in general, this is what I want, right? It's not about my knowledge or what I'm going to teach you guys. It's about you guys working together to find out solutions and ways that you can make things work better. So, and then write those things down when you find them. Just looking at the areas that you feel like you have control or not control, right? And we're going to go over this later, but do you feel like you could just step right out, right? Or do you feel like if you move, the whole thing falls apart? Or do you feel like you have control the whole time? Does that make sense? So every time I do one transition, I start analyzing that transition. So like, as I lift, do I have good control, or is it something she can just stand up and walk away from, right? And then if she does, now that's what I need to write down as soon as I figure out what that control would be, right? Go on.
With the lifting part, like if she said like, you know, with bigger people, it wouldn't be really possible, but like, isn't like to get the technique right, like when you want to go underneath them for the butterfly, like you want to go like all the way underneath them, and like would that work against like bigger
So this is one of my strongest things that I do against bigger people, right? Is now that's maybe instead of necessarily just finishing the leg lock, maybe it's the concept of how well I elevate somebody with my butterfly and get underneath them.
Okay, yeah, that's important, because we should be able to do it with bigger people.
Right, because this is one of the strongest things where your skeletal frame stays together. Elbows, knees, elevates, lifts, makes them place their feet on the mat, and now you're under them where they can't smash you, right? Because if you're getting smashed just in that series, how are you ever going to get to the finishing part of it, right? The finishing's the easiest part. It's the control of the transitions all the way to that. So maybe that's what we need to build up. Elbows, knees together, making a really good rocking motion and elevating them up to their feet and being connected under them with good pressure, and that they can't just back step out of it, right? And that's just keep communicating to each other and seeing where those weaknesses are at. Yeah, that's my favorite. I like that. That's my favorite. But again, it matters what you like the most. You know, some people, I mean, there's a lot of people that have a major success with that grip.
Yeah, that figure four.
Yeah. So again, it's just the big thing is, like I was telling the girls over there, it doesn't even matter the finish. The finish doesn't matter if you don't have the control in the beginning all the way through. So like every time I start a series, when I elevate them and they place their feet down, can they just walk away? Can they just turn away? Or how do I have all that tight? Because that's where they're going to start freaking out. Then once I have control of that, what's the next transition? Now I got control of that. What's the next? That's why I want as little transitions as possible and as many controls. So it's 3 transitions, 3 controls. I feel like my grip's typically pretty set. So, yeah. And in the gi, I do a lot of readjustments. In no gi, I don't do a lot of readjustments. So if that makes sense. In the gi, sometimes I'll feed because I have that ability to feed. And in no gi, I kind of got to make sure that I have a good bite on the foot before I knock them over, or they're going to maybe fall and turn away, and then that's when the foot slides out. So, but definitely keep communicating with each other. Huh?
Where's Instructor Brandon?
Instructor Brandon?
The concept of this under. How far away from his head and arm do I want this one?
I don't think he's going to have an answer for that, but I think he was saying that if his foot can go on his opponent, he's going to push them away, right?
Defensively, for him to get a toe hold or a heel.
That's where he gets stuck a lot.
So I didn't know if I needed to stay close to the waistline.
Or that foot needs to pop over to the butt and hide as soon as it can. I think that's the most crucial, is making sure. That's where Brandon, a lot of times I get toe holds on him, is because he leaves that foot hanging out instead of hiding that foot as fast as he can.
And that's what I've been hitting the heel hook when people knee bar.
Yeah.
Because it's sticking apart. It's already been.
Yep. That's where I get him on toe hold every time, because he's lazy with that foot.
Okay.
Right? And it's like,
Waist or behind the butt?
I think putting the foot on your opponent is going to be better than having it just kind of hang there and like be able to be grabbed.
Because it's rigid.
Right. So it's a little harder for you to get a foot lock on someone when it's there, right?
So grab my toes here.
See, that's where I catch Brandon every time.
Once I get there. Okay, so I'll bring this back. Now go back.
I try to grab the back of the heel, but I just have to hide it.
So, and the other thing too is you have to learn to keep rolling when they start doing the heel hook or the toe hold, because that's the only way, is you continue to do the roll until you can free the foot. Yes, right there it is. Now throw it over. See, right? Yeah. You should have thrown that over way sooner and then back the hips up. If you can, back the hips up right away to keep the knee line. Nice. Feel better? Okay. This next part, I'm going to show on some of the concepts that I'm doing when I'm drilling, some of the things that I noticed you guys were saying that you're struggling with. But like I was talking to some of you guys just a minute ago, you were asking me questions like on the entries and how you were kind of having struggles getting into these entries. And that right there is more important sometimes than just getting the whole execution of finishing the technique or finishing the straight ankle lock or finishing the armbar. So when I was talking with Andrew, Tyler's concept was double butterfly, elevation, both feet on the mat, go for the ankle lock, right? And then Andrew was looking at it from wanting to almost do the same thing, but it was a little bit different. And he didn't know how to word that. And what that means is like, he's almost where Tyler's doing one leg on each, right? So the center through the middle, where one leg's on each leg and he's elevating them and making them play at both feet. Andrew wanted to essentially do it where he's lifting up like two legs, my two legs on my opponent's one leg, elevating the one leg in the air to feed that butterfly to your opponent, okay? So what I mean by this is we're here, okay? And Tyler's going for the motion. And if you're looking for the butterfly entry that you guys are looking for on bigger opponents, what do you weigh?
160.
Okay, so I'll do this. Let me have Tyler real quick, sorry. Okay, butterfly guard's super crucial in keeping your frame together, okay? And what I mean by this is I have to get here, right? And then when I'm pulling Tyler on me, like Tyler was saying, he's breaking the posture down and he's lifting, right? my elbows and knees are staying together the whole time and making him stand. Okay, so go back. Sometimes that takes a rocking motion, right? Sometimes it's like, oh, and then I sit back up, and then I sit here, and then I sit back up, and then I get him up, right? But it's like staying in that motion where you start to rock him up, and I'm analyzing the details like the whole time. Am I keeping pressure? Am I controlling him? If I get here, does he just back step out, right? I have no pressure, so he back steps over. Or am I kind of like hooking here, right? Am I keeping everything nice and tight so that he can't just kick over and then I'm out, right? Am I keeping the knee pressure out so he can't just drop down on me? Does that make sense? I'm looking for those details that matter. So what Andrew was looking at is this is butterfly guard, both feet on each leg. He's essentially looking at going for 2-on-1. And how that looks is like as I'm sliding in, my 2 legs are going, and then I'm lifting here, right? So now instead of elevating 2 legs, I'm just looking at elevating 1 leg so that I can come into the single leg X or whatever I want to come into. Does that make sense? Okay? And that doesn't make any of these things right or wrong. It comes down to what you like, what your style is, what you're confident in doing. Okay? So everyone gets just that analyzation of how you need to look into those details and control everything in those transitions. Okay? The one thing that I try to do in my technique is make as little transitions as possible. The more transitions, the more contingencies you have to have at hand. Right? So when I have transitions 1 is Andrew's here. Okay? Transition 1 is what? Getting this. This is one of the hardest transitions to get in the game, you know? Clearly you're going to be sitting here hand fighting and you've got to get to here. Okay? Then when I get to here, I have to elevate my opponent and I have to control that the whole time. So that whole transition has to have so many contingencies in your head of what you're going to do as soon as you do it. Okay? So as I elevate him, right? My hands are here in the hips. Here, now, there's an infinite amount of possibilities that he can do to react to this, right? How many people have been here and had shit go bad? He turns and runs away. He jumps over me. He backsteps. He drives this knee in. He drives that knee in. You have to know how all of those are going to take place. The finish doesn't even matter if I can't control this one position. So it's like, are my feet, right? Am I just sitting here like this, no pressure, no tightness, or are my feet like trying to buckle the knees out, cup down on the legs? Now when he moves his legs, right? Now I have a good elbow knee framing. He doesn't just drop down and collapse me. I'm analyzing every step of this and seeing what my opponent's going to do and put myself in this position 20 times, 30 times, 100 times so that I know, okay, he's going to try to drop this knee in, and then from there I'm going to drop into this. Like knowing where to go and not completely lose these things matter. Everyone understand? Okay? So then wrapping up, right? Even here it's like when I shoot this, is he going to drop this knee down? Because now this foot's going to stop that. Right? This hand can stop that. This foot can go here. Okay? Those are the little things that I want you guys to analyze when you're drilling and communicating with each other. Okay? So I'm going to give you just 3, like, Derek, can I use you real quick? 3 things that I want to look at. If you sit on your butt, okay, so, all right. I don't want to get into fancy entries right now and doing all like the flashy stuff. I want you guys to get more confident in getting the certain grips, right? Tyler used what grip? Tyler went with, right? Tyler went with this grip, okay? I like to go with this grip, okay? Where I'm like shaving the ankle, pulling my shoulders back, sticking my chest out. That's one of my favorite grips to do on the straight ankle lock. Okay? That doesn't, none of these make it right or wrong. What matters is you have confidence in what you like on the grip and that you're going to control the grip the whole time. Okay? So this is a huge, I mean, this grip right here is great. Okay? I mean, so many top tier athletes use this grip and have a lot of success. So the thing I recommend when you're doing this grip is trying to figure out how to like turn your bone so that it's up into the ankle so that you're not trying to break it with the top part of your wrist. This is a little softer, this is a little more of a blade. So when you're doing this grip, the reason that I don't do it so much is because sometimes I have a hard time keeping the blade of my wrist on his Achilles, okay? That's what I like about this grip, is that as I shave it back, it like keeps the blade on the bone, okay? So you have this grip, which is the reverse grip of the ankle lock. So there's tons of different grips that you guys can do to finish these submissions. You have to find the grip that that you enjoy the most, that you feel like you have the most control with, right? If I'm doing this grip and I'm losing it every time, I either have to analyze why I'm losing this grip or why I'm not getting a good finish out of this grip, or I have to find different grips, okay? So what I want to do, okay, is I want you guys to try to generate as much pressure with your grips, okay? So we're going to start here with this, and you're going to start here with the short hook and the X, okay? So X under the hip, X, okay? Short hook here. Now, analyze the mechanics like this, right? Right now, my knee is pushing in and my foot is pushing out. Understand? Okay? This one is sticking into Derek's butt, and then this knee is pushing in here, right? To have as much pressure as I can here. See how he elevates? Okay? You have to analyze details like this. If you want to be able to teach better, if you want to be able to explore technique better, you've got to be able to sit with your partner and control these things and feel comfortable and then analyze what they do or what they react with, right? And then write that down. I really noticed that when I took my toe and I stuck this in his hip, the neat thing about this grip is now when he tries to scoot off to the side, he can't. Okay? So now for me, when I'm putting the foot in my armpit, right? Are you just grabbing it like this? Okay? Or are you really putting it up and then biting it back? See how he elevates? Right? Okay? It's just like the bow choke. Everyone's done the bow choke? Everyone's done a bow choke in here for the most part? Okay? What matters more? Grabbing the bow choke and just falling to the side and wrenching on your opponent's neck? Or feeding it to the point where they're tapping before you even fall off to the side? What has more value in the technique, right? So when we break into groups, I want you guys to analyze details. And I'm not saying do this one. I'm saying do whatever you're liking, okay? And build the technique in it. Because at the end of class, it doesn't matter what I show you. It doesn't matter what's cool. What matters is that you're going to show up and apply that in your room, and you're going to be able to be more confident in it, okay? So wrap, right? Think about like you're here, elbows out, and then you're going to pull the elbows back, right? So then I'm going to go here, okay? I'm going to pull Derek in, and what I'm trying to do is shatter the top of his foot, okay? So I need to be here. See how we elevate? Stick the chest out, right? I can go here and I can squeeze on it and it's fine, blah, blah, blah. But what I want to know is how can I actually get him to almost tap? By just flaring my chest out, by just rolling my elbows back, or my shoulders back, right? And pulling my elbows behind my body. Like, is my chest out further than my elbows? Make sense? Right? Then I'm not getting this. This isn't failing. Or he did tap, but let's say somebody's got a flexible foot. What's my contingency to this? Right? Here. Right? So how am I keeping pressure the whole time? Right? I'm here. I don't want to just be lazy here like this and then do this. Right? I want to be like, okay, I feel like this is tight. Look at his face. Looks uncomfortable, right? His mustache is flared up. Okay? So now shave. Right? Shave his ankle. Even here, look. He's tapping, Why is he tapping? I don't even have the whole thing locked in, right? He's tapping because I'm keeping pressure, pushing this back before I'm even getting the rear naked choke grip, okay? All those details matter, right? The technique's the same from white to black. Nothing changes. What changes? The way that we actually analyze the technique, the way that we actually look into the details, okay? So, sorry, Derek. You good?
Yeah.
Okay? So, what I want you guys to do is, I want you to grab the ankle, right? Shoot the short hook in, and just see how much pressure you can generate here, okay? Reinforce it here, so his butt is up in the air. Now, how am I getting this, right? When I did my 10,000 ankle locks, right? At 7,000, I felt like here, right? Think about, look, even here, get the foot back. Pull your foot back.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm controlling it, right? I can break the foot without using the wrists. How do you build these details up, right? You explore them, you communicate with each other, you become better partners. Everybody improves, okay? Here, 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 the whole time. Just exploring that technique and watching your opponent partner's face and seeing where you need to be tighter at. Anyone have questions of that?
When you have their foot in your armpit, are you like pinching their toes together too with that?
Yes.
That's what's creating the pressure there?
Yes, I'm
A lot of
here.
pressure. Yep.
Okay.
Dude, I'm gonna need a new training partner here in a minute. It's funny, when Brandon did 6 hours, when I did 6 hours of arm bars on Brandon, he's like, I was messed up for a week. So it is, you know, it doesn't matter. Doing 1, 2, 3, 4, showing up to the classroom, we've all done that. We've all come in and we've all done, okay, what's next, coach? I'm ready for the next thing, right? I would rather you spend the whole hour in class seeing where the most pressure is and where your opponent squirms the most, and click that in your brain and go write it down. You know what? When I had this part of my blade, he freaked out a little bit more than when I had this part. So I got to make sure, boom, there it is. Every time. Boom, 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 fail, boom, success, fail, success, right? Then when I'm hitting it, that's why you get people tap. That's a win, right? Doesn't matter if it was going to slip out 1 second later or not. You just won the match, right? But if you're doing this, I don't know why I'm not having success, coach, right? Every detail matters. Every pinch matters, okay? Make sense? So seek those. Find a way to put yourself in a place where you can drill 100 of these real quick. Can you get his foot back, right? How long can I contain the foot before he loses it? Okay? That's quite a long time, right? When he does lose it, what am I going to next? Right? When he does lose it, what am I going to next? When he does lose it, what's the next grip that I want? Okay? So I want you guys to work on whatever we started with, or go into this and explore this. But I like starting with this, not saying I would ever do this necessarily in tournament. I just like these different pinch controls. It teaches me how to be more active with my short hook. At the same time that I'm working on learning how to break the person's ankle, I'm also learning how to be more active with my hooks and my positioning so that they can't just slide a foot out or turn, right? He can't turn this way or that way if his knee's locked out. So, or if he does turn, right, he's got the ability to turn this way, what's it give me? It immediately, I only want my opponent to have one option or two options, and I want that in my brain to know what that contingency is behind that option, okay? So I want you guys to drill. Look for the detail that you're going to write down. This detail matters next. I want you to circle this next detail as you're exploring these techniques of grabbing the ankle lock, generating pressure, whatever it is that's clicking in your brain. I want you to write this one technique down because we're going to actually dive into it, okay? Start with the first technique, the second technique, or this technique, okay? Gain revelation in your brain, circle it, and write it down on page 2, okay? Then I want to break down exactly how we're going to continue to analyze these details. All right, get your partners. We're going to drill for roughly 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to put you guys in like groups of 4 or 5. Then you're going to communicate with each other, and I want to hear people continually talking to each other about Hey, is this tight, Derek, or is this loose? Right? Is this tight? Is this loose? How do you turn? Which way can you turn right now, Derek? Turn? Right? Okay, that turn makes sense. What about the other way? Okay, can you turn that way? No? Okay, so then the only other option that you have is to go this way. What about if I turn and control this? Can you turn?
Yep.
Okay, can you turn and get away? Can I keep the knee line? Can you clear that? Can I hold to that? Right? Where's my pressure at? Where's it weak at? Right? Talk to each other. All right? Everyone's good? All right, let's get going.
The only thing I really have is trying to get this I'm using them as a falling
Pull the elbows back. Nope, round your elbows back. Put them back. Do it again.
So, what I was saying with this one, I think you were talking about this before. You roll your shoulders forward first, right, to create that space to get that foot up, and then you go forward.
Oh, okay, so it's pulling it up, tucking it up, and then.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a little loose there. I don't feel like I have it. I feel like enough fighting I could get. I don't know. I just always just felt this right here. No matter what, I can.
Hey, it's your game, not mine. At the end of the day, it's your technique. Hey guys, at the end of the day, it's not my technique that's going to win the matches. It's your technique, so you got to like it. You got to be the one that is confident in it.
They get your toes even quick, you know?
When they elevate, that's a good sign. Then you got to figure out in your mind how to continue to create that elevation, right? Or that result. So also ask yourself right now, is the top of your wrist on his ankle?
What's going on is the foot ain't too far enough.
Yep. Now look, grab the top of your hand. Which you want to do that one? You do whatever one you like the most, but play with a few different grips. I go the other way. So go like you're going to grab that with your right hand, grab the top. Yes. So here. Nope. Here. Now flare your elbows back and stick your chest out. Yep. Elbows back, chest out. So, and these are all things, now when you create that reaction where it's like, now figure out how to create that reaction and stop it before he taps, right? So there's a lot of times when I'm drilling that I figure out exactly how to get to the tapping point on my opponent, like I did with Derek 100 times, right? He never had to really tap a whole lot there in the end when I'm drilling, but I know when he's going to tap, and then I can recreate that situation 10, 20, 30 times so that it really builds the muscle memory.
From straight ankles, it's like this. I get my elbow pinched, and this is right. But then when I plug this through, I start losing pressure.
So you're going to have to analyze, because here's the thing, like how are you getting into this ankle lock, right? So it really depends, like, are you setting it up from single leg X? Are you setting it up from butterfly? Are you falling back on it from an open guard? So, and then you're going to have to kind of learn to keep that motion where you're pinching that elbow or that shoulder, right? And being able to make sure that that foot doesn't come out. When I pivot this, right? Right? Analyze those details, because my body's going to be completely different than your body. It doesn't matter, like there's different things that I'm going to do and create that keep me from to make sure I maintain that position. You're going to have to figure that out. But definitely that pinch, and then learn to rotate your elbow, right? Like I'm really good at this. Like, can I keep that pinch the whole time?
Well, you're like a little robot. I was telling the guys about that, trying to choke about how you just you separate your hips and your upper and your lower so easy. Not everybody does that. Your flexibility is great.
I don't know.
I think so.
People say that, but I don't feel flexible. When I get up in the morning, I don't feel flexible.
He's literally just like you would have been able to pinch that
closing that gap down.
Yep.
Like, I don't necessarily have to hook through.
Yeah, I call it the no hand ankle lock. It's
but what I was noticing is that I can use that same concept if I hook one through as well, of keeping the space between the ankle and my elbow. Because I notice a lot of times when I don't hit the ankle lock, it's because I have space right here.
Yeah.
And when he was doing it to me, I was noticing the same thing. It was hurting more when he closed, even when we were looking through.
He pointed out.
Closed that space. Yeah. That's just that tiny little bit of gap.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference.
That's what went on in my head. That's my likes.
Hey, it doesn't matter. It's what you guys want out of it. So. Yeah.
There's a difference between, like, I can get the grip, and like I'm getting that, but I'm not doing anything. Like I have my wing out here, so I'm pitching down and apply the correct pressure to get the submission.
That position isn't going to be the thing that I'm always going to go to as far as like a guard. When I'm doing this, right, can you feel how I'm trying to push this and push this out at the same time?
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense? Right? Then I'm here. Do you feel like I have kind of like different control, pressure?
Yeah.
Right? So analyze those details.
Well, yeah, that's right. But I can feel that pressure in a lot more.
Right?
Yeah.
Or is this pressure better for you? Right?
That's what we were looking at.
Like, then, right? Does that make sense? Like, I like to float between the single leg X, the short hook, double leg X, right? Maybe that is the thing that you want to get better at, is controlling those different, right? Or maybe you want to get better at the braking mechanic, right? 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 Does that make sense? See how you're elevating, right? Just explore those details and try to create pressure and control and gain just some kind of revelation of like, okay, I noticed this, I noticed this, I noticed this, right? And just apply that. And then it's not about getting it perfect today. It's about writing it down. And then next week, did you go up in that revelation or did you go down, right? Did you get better? Like, okay, now last week, I couldn't create any pressure in this position. Now I'm creating pressure. Last week, I couldn't get my opponent to go, but now I'm doing it and my opponent's like, right? That's where you're gonna start seeing success in your technique.
The traditional creates more torque.
Yeah, like I was telling them, it doesn't matter. Like some of these things are never gonna be, it doesn't matter what I do. Your technique isn't gonna be my technique, right? And when I leave this room, I'm gonna go do my own technique. Right? And you're going to go do your own technique. You're not going to do my technique. So find out what you have the most success with. Find out what you like the most.
This grip, not this, but this grip is pretty successful.
Okay.
It creates a lot more torque with this leg over, pitching the toes coming back. Flaring the chest is going to be good like that.
Well, it's good to see it the other way too, because now if I go back and I coach a smaller guy or somebody that likes it and is more flexible, they're going to be able to implement their game because they like that. But if I didn't know that, if I couldn't show it to them, then I'm not doing them any justice because I'm limiting what they learn because I don't know it.
Cool.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. You guys good? Right? Like I was telling them, how much pressure are you generating, right? And actively, okay? And then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How can I finish, right? See, can I elevate you without even grabbing it?
Dude, he's just like crunching his lat. It's like a pull up.
Right? So, actively being here, actively putting pressure. Okay, he lifts. Why does he lift? He lifts because the back of the foot, right? Then when I wrap this, I know I want it right here. Boom. 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 Chest out, right?
I can't either. I feel like the way his lat clamps down, feel how his lat clamps down. It's so much stronger than what I'm doing.
Right? So then, shave.
Oh, you're keeping it super. Golly. You're
Right.
staying super shallow. So what are you doing with your right hand then when you say, God, why is that so tight?
Right?
Wow, tap.
Right? So
how he's got it all right here before he even goes anywhere with it.
10,000 made a difference.
Why is that?
Before you go to this grip, how were you doing that? Can you walk me through just how you were getting the tap almost from here?
So
This is kind of tight, but it's not like
he needs the foot's too exposed right now. Yes. Yes. Now. Okay. Now. Squeeze. Right? Is it?
it's really starting both times.
See how? Stick your hand out this way. Squeeze back.
So how do you get that angle while you've got the hand under that?
Well, you're gonna have to teach yourself that because look.
He's almost like his whole shoulder's almost shifting back.
So I think you need to feed his foot up. Yes. Yes. Now feed back. Pull. Right. Now grab. Now elbows back. Chest out. Elevation starting. Right.
That's totally different.
So
There's a much tighter squeeze there. So there's more.
no wrist. I always do remember that blade right where I want it. That's it.
Yeah.
Does all this look right? I feel like this foot,
This is some.
I'm not really doing anything good with.
I'm trying. Yeah. So analyze it.
Are you hooking it just kind of here?
Yes.
On top of
Right in the butt cheek is where I was. Yeah.
Is that mostly to stop him from sitting off to this side?
I've only done this a few times, but what I liked about doing this when I did my 10,000 was it kept me active with my short hook constantly. Like I was analyzing that I had pressure with my short hook the whole time.
You're pushing this in?
Yes. Yeah. It only allows you to do what? It only allows you to turn this way, which basically is why I end up in the toe hold so often. So all these things are just little details that we got to explore.
And then you were going.
You're going
here.
Yeah. I remember it's always blade.
No matter if you're feeding it forward or reverse, you're always going to the same spot.
Right to, I just want the blade to break the leg.
And then to here.
So, yep.
More straight back.
Yeah, put your chest into it and elevate your hips as you.
Dip in that right shoulder as opposed to going straight.
What about this?
Yeah.
Where's this here?
Yeah, grab your bicep and turn your blade up. So look at this. Wait. Yeah, you had that. Yes. Yes. Now. Yes.
And as I push in, it's digging in.
Yeah, and you're digging your elbows.
The minute you switch that from palm down to thumb up, right there, just doing that. Yeah.
Somebody that in their mind they're like, this shit's awesome. I'm going to go home and make sure that every time I do class or whatever the case is, every time I compete, I'm going to do this technique or I'm going to really work on this. Who feels like they have that detail? Raise your hand. Anyone? Okay. So we're going to use Andrews. All right. What is it?
Just, I never utilized that short hook. I locked down the leg, and then I knew to pinch, but the way you're pinching and extending to break the top of that foot and so much extra pressure. Also, that rear naked did to lift that further is top notch. So it's so much more pressure, and I think it would finish things a lot faster than I'm already.
So the short hook's one of my favorite games. It's like, if anyone's trained with me and played my guard, like the short hook is my saving grace to so many things. Or the Langy hook, they call it. So if you're gonna go home and you're gonna YouTube these things, right? We're going to, right? We're gonna go home. We're gonna research short hook, Langy hook, right? What are things that I can do with the short hook or the Langy hook, okay? So that I can do the research, watch a 5-minute video, a 10-minute video, a 15-minute video. If you just watch the video and you watch it from start to finish and you're like, okay, I saw all this new cool shit, it's great. Then you show up to the gym, you try some of the stuff, you half-ass it, you go leave class, right? That's okay. I did that for 12 years, all right? But now, you watch the video. It's a 20-minute video. At 10 minutes, you gain some kind of revelation where you're like, you know what? I need to make sure that I do that every time I'm in the training room, okay? So you write that down. Don't even need to finish the video. It doesn't matter if you finish the video, right? How many people read a book in here all the way through and when you're done, you're like, what the hell did I read? Or you only remember 2 things from it, right? It's almost better to read 1 page of a book a day and gain revelation in that book, in that moment, and write that down and do that for 300 days than to read the whole book in 1 day and brag about reading the book, okay? Same thing with your technique. You can watch 10 hours of jiu-jitsu, but if you only learn 1 detail in 10 hours, did you waste time? Or if you watch 10 minutes and gain the same thing, okay? So when you're watching your video, look up the Lange hook. Pick out 1 thing in that 20-minute video of whatever you're watching that you really liked, write it down, right? Then you're gonna start drilling, and then you're gonna analyze the details. So not only you're gonna gain the knowledge from the video, now when you start drilling it, you're gonna gain the knowledge, right? Then when you start tracking how many times you do it in live rolling, right? So now what I wanna do, okay? You like the Lange hook, all right? This is what everyone's gonna do now by themselves, and then you're gonna break in groups and talk about it, okay? What do you need to start doing, okay? I need to start seeing the entries into the Lange hook. I need to make sure that when I'm playing butterfly guard, when I'm elevating that person with, because I like to play the 2 legs on the 1 butterfly, when I elevate this person, right? I need to be looking for the Lange hook there, because every time that I elevate this person, they drop this knee down on my stomach, and then they backstep and I lose the whole thing. So what I need to start doing is I need to start looking for the better entries into the Lange hook, and then how to actually control this so that I don't lose this position. What do I need to stop doing? Well, I need to stop being lazy with my pressure and my control, right? Because I'm doing this, this, and this, my opponent's able to easily just backstep over it. So when he backsteps over it, I need to work on my contingencies of what I'm gonna do when they backstep out of this, right? What do I need to sustain doing? I need to make sure that I'm controlling that ankle and I'm not being lazy with it. Or I need to make sure that this free foot is not allowing my opponent to turn away from me and run away as soon as I set up this position, okay? So everyone's gonna be different. What I want you to do is I want you to write start, stop, sustain underneath whatever your revelation was. Whatever the detail that you got today that really stuck out in your head, stood out in your head, okay? What that is, I want you to, underneath there, start, stop, sustain, okay? Write that down, take some time with it. And then I want you guys to think about the 4 levels of confidence, right? Level 1 confidence, your technique, how confident you are with the whole technique series, okay? The execution, your ability to actually go for the submission or go for the position, all right? Your contingencies, what your plans are when the technique or position is going to fail, you're grounded. And then your awareness of everything that's going on in that moment. Are you engaging every muscle group of your body? Are you being aware of your shoulders, your head placement, your chest placement, your hips, right? All these different levels of confidence are what's going to make you execute the technique better, okay? So for now, start, stop, sustain. Not just 1-word answers, Tyler. All right?
I'm with you, Tyler.
So the more you dive into this, the greater you're going to be able to teach your classes. The more you dive in this, the more confidence you're going to have in your technique. The more you dive into this, the more you're going to believe in yourself to actually do these in live rolling or teach these things. Everyone make sense? So start, stop, sustain of the one thing that you circled today. What is the thing that was the light bulb moment for you? And what do you need to either start doing, stop doing, or sustain doing? When you guys do these things, you don't have to always come up with start, stop, and sustain. Maybe it's just one thing in this technique that you need to start doing. Michael, you're grounded. All right, Robert, take it away.
The biggest thing I got so far is where Brandon was doing that knee bar. Like, I'm terrible at straightening people's legs. So reaching out for that heel and pulling that heel, I think that's great. I've always been afraid of doing it because I don't want to hurt people's knees when I'm drilling or rolling. But it seems pretty easy and it seems really useful. So I think I'm going to start doing that every time I'm working to straighten the legs, especially from that position.
Okay, I like it. Now, what's something you could start doing, right, to get you into that position?
I play that position, like the half guard knee shield, a lot.
Okay.
So it's something I'm really comfortable with. I just don't really reach out for the feet. So I think just keeping in the back of my mind that, like, that is how I straighten the legs instead of getting in that position. And then I abandon it as soon as I can't move that leg.
Cool. And then one other thing to just think about, because this is where Brandon kind of runs into this a lot, right, is I end up toe holding him when he's going for the knee bar, right? So be aware of your feet. And then if your feet are just hanging out there and you're not hiding your feet, that's something you need to stop doing, right? You need to stop leaving your feet out there where they can get caught.
Mike heel hooked me the other day when I tried to knee bar.
Right. So just think about it like that sense, right? Now next time you drill or you live roll, are you being active with that foot and hiding it, or are you being lazy with it? Make sense?
Yeah.
So when we were doing the short hook or the langy hook that you were talking about, before I even got my arm involved in looping over the ankle or anything like that, there was a whole bunch of details there that were important that obviously I've got to do, as opposed to just diving onto the ankle with that guillotine style grip. So the thing I need to start doing more is when I find myself in that position, using a more aggressive outside hook that comes in, foot pressure out, knee pressure in, to create a better bite on that, to give me more time to get the arm set the right way. I've got to be, with my other leg, I've got to stop being too shallow. I'm way too shallow with it a lot of the times, and I don't get it all the way to that outside hip. And so that creates a lot of space, like Brandon was talking about, how much space there was there, as opposed to when I shot it deep enough and really got the instep on the outside of his hip, that it was a lot tighter as far as controlling his mobility. Not necessarily the leg I was working on, but his mobility to kind of work out of it. And then something that I felt like I was doing pretty well that I need to really make sure I stay on top of is once I've got that guillotine grip, before pulling up on it or anything, making sure I'm biting down and then sending the shoulders back before I start any other pressure. And we talked about that shoulder pressure going backwards.
That was like everything, really.
Yeah.
The power came from that.
Yeah, and I felt like I was catching that. Like I was doing that was the one thing out of all 10 things I was doing a relatively decent job of. So I need to make sure I stay on top of that and don't let that slide away from me.
Cool. Thank you. And the other thing just to think about to take this to the next level, because it's not just about what you gain out of the room today, but like how you're going to start training when you show up. But that pressure in all areas, you know, when you're playing butterfly guard, when you're playing single leg X, when you're playing delihiva, right? When you're playing reverse delihiva, like all those things matter on how you're generating pressure and control. So maybe it's not just, hey, I need to start having pressure in this one area, because that situation right there is probably a very weird position that you're not going to play a lot. But whatever you're going to play that is your game, how active are you being with your hooks? Like that's the one compliment that I've had a lot of people tell me is like my hooks are like stuck to you. Once I use a hook, like it's like grabbing you and sticking to you. So maybe that's the revelation you have to have too, is like I need to start being super active with being aware of how tight my hooks are to my opponent or how lazy I'm being with the pressure of it.
So I need to start working on grip and squeezing my legs, because I noticed that I had to change my grip because I'm being too lazy in how I'm squeezing my knees together. And so basically I'm holding them with my feet and holding them up here. So by changing and squeezing more, I can get a better grip, and that allows a better finish. So I need to stop being lazy with how I'm placing and squeezing my knees together. And then I need to sustain maintaining pressure in that same way through the whole process, making sure I'm squeezing my legs and everything is tight and moving forward.
Thank you, sir.
Because it goes with just what you said and really what he said too, is keeping my knees tight the entire time and stop being lazy and relying on the strength of my arms and my feet just to hold someone there. And then also to sustain tight elbows whenever I'm trying to finish the lock.
And what was the revelation that you guys wrote down and circled?
That was it, squeezing the legs together.
Okay.
And knowing, we both realized that we're trying to muscle it instead of using the solid technique.
Okay.
Yeah, mine was too. Pinching the knees together. Whenever I did that, I noticed it was a lot tighter on him. I could see on his face as soon as I pinched the knees together.
Where else can that apply besides this?
Triangles,
guard retention.
The arm bar's the big one, right? How many times when you guys apply an arm bar do you actually squeeze the knees together, or how do you allow yourself to just kind of be lazy and just crank back on the arm, right? Yeah. Like then you start tying all those things in together, just things like that.
If you guys are trying to muscle through everything all the time, eventually you're going to get hurt or your training partner's going to get hurt, right? Whereas if you slow yourself down, right, control your breathing, control how your body is moving, longevity-wise, you can train for X amount of years because you're not getting hurt and you're controlling from position to position to position to position all the way through. So,
wise words from Sergeant Harris.
All right, so the kind of revelation I had was just how to transition from that more traditional ankle lock kind of grip to that the rear naked choke style one. So really finding that good spot to stop, right? Because at first I was kind of sending that grip all the way through, like almost like I was trying to rear naked choke someone, right? Keeping their chin right in line with your elbow. But I kind of realized that going a little more shallow was working a little better. So just the start kind of thing was just finding that good entry that I don't have to readjust so much afterwards. And then after I've got that good entry, I've got the start part, I've got the grip set up. Now I'm kind of stopping, trying to find how I can maintain that by kind of pulling the elbows in, setting up that figure four grip. And then as far as the sustain, not just necessarily like wrapping my hand around and grabbing onto the leg. Chad kind of showed me that was alleviating a lot of the pressure. So he was kind of leaning back as he was pulling his hand up towards him instead of towards the leg, maintaining that pressure with the legs like so many other people mentioned, that pinch that is so crucial, and then biting the elbows in as I send everything down towards that kind of, towards the foot, biting my elbows in tight, right? And that was kind of just the revelation I had, mostly with just the transition of that grip to the rear naked choke style.
Thank you, sir.
The posture, the elbows flared back, chest out. A lot of things I don't do whenever I'm grabbing a hold of ankles. I always brought my hand up for a good tight grip, and then I would lean back or roll, but really pulling that back and keeping in a solid posture with the bone work and frameworks in line to keep it strong. That way, one, you can't get broken down as easily, and you're not leaning into things or creating spaces. Like when you do lean forward, I noticed there was a space there. When I got back here, the space was gone. Things I just really need to keep track of is the posture. That's what I got so far the most out of.
Sweet.
What I wrote down was the grip from the traditional one that I like to do to the one you like to do, was being able to, I figured out now, I always had trouble finishing it because I didn't feel like I had it, but now I know if I lean up and then tighten it up more and then close it back, then I have it, and it's a quicker finish, and I can go to my side with that, and I can hold it a lot better, and I'm able to finish that one now.
Just what he was saying, we kind of figured out with that grip, rolling forward first and then pulling up and then rolling back to create that space and pulling that foot up into that space, closing that space.
I feel like
off.
you just did that so you show your upper body off. Do that again.
Yeah, but rolling the shoulders forward and then pulling the foot up to close that space. So that space is already closed when you roll your shoulders back. That was an almost instant tap when we were working that. I think that was the main thing that I took away from that. And another thing, just making sure during that whole time I'm keeping my the blade of my forearm closest to the heel, as close to the heel as possible. And yeah, that was the biggest thing I took away from that.
Thank you.
I'm going to kind of follow what a couple other people said. For me, one thing I do a lot of, I notice say there's 6 steps to a submission. I'll get 1, 2, and 3, the pressure engaged, and then I'll drop 1, 2, and 3 to go to 4 and 5. And then you kind of lose the submission, or it's a whole lot hard to get. It becomes a muscle thing instead of a technique thing. I like what you said. That's a whole lot. I believe that. So that's something I want to try to work at, trying to make myself conscious of, is that step 1 is the short hook, and then the pressure under the butt. Make sure those 2 stay there. And then the next thing, make sure I keep all those steps to get to that submission engaged. You know, sometimes you hear them say about the position before submission. Sometimes I skip some of that, you know. So that's something I want to really work at. And as far as sustaining, I always want to try to make sure that I keep all those steps applied in whatever I'm trying to do. I'm going to really work hard on that because I'm good at skipping stuff. Just like baking a cake, if you forget to put the eggs in, or if you don't put the heat on or something, if you take something out that makes it harder to taste right or feel right or to get where you're going. So
We went from jiu-jitsu to cake. I like it.
yeah.
I like where this is going.
Here we go.
Dustin's like, don't talk about food.
Because I kind of went back and forth between two of them. Is it just the ankle lock specifically, or like just anything from today?
It's your journey. How many people have gained something from someone else in here in that last?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we just want your wisdom.
Well, at first I wrote down stuff about the finishing the ankle lock, but then I was really thinking about the elevating transition from.
Go with the second one.
Okay.
The only reason I say that is because it's kind of neat when you guys are going down these rabbit holes, exploring this stuff, right? And then you're like, shit, that's where you get the good stuff, right? Like where you're like, okay, at first I wrote it down because I was kind of confused and I was just writing down what I think I should write down. But then when it actually clicks and you want to start diving into that, that's where you're passionate about it. When you're passionate about it, you get better results out of it. So let's hear that.
So the elevation on the butterfly to the single and double X position, I don't really play a lot of single and double X because what I find happens is I'll either use a lot of muscle and then I'll just give it up and I'll let myself get smashed. And I'm noticing that I need to start going to that position more. And that butterfly transition is a really good spot to do that. And I need to sustain a good position and sustain that upward kind of elevation to keep that position. And put myself there more, and then just stop giving up that single X and double X position by either being lazy or trying to muscle it. Because what I notice happens is I'll go to the single leg X, for example, and then they'll shuck my legs off, and then I'll just let them like flop on top of me. And so I just need to start working on keeping that position because I think it might be a viable thing to add to my game.
Definitely. Thank you.
It's really just starting to see the entry point so that I can start trying to apply some of the little things. But and I've been in, I've actually, I've had the position, but I haven't executed because of little things like having a gap and not using and pressuring down. I'm getting my arms up and chicken winging it out too much. So that basically was my aha and being able to attempting to execute it more efficiently and not trying to use too much brute strength and things like that. And then being able to see the way to use your hooks and apply those to control so that you're using your body movements more efficiently and you have the person locked down a little bit better. So that's mine.
Cool. Learning how to be more conscious. I need to start being more conscious of the muscle groups I'm activating in my legs when I'm trying to secure a position. A lot of times I'll get a straight ankle, my position's good on my hand and stuff, but I'm sloppy with my maintenance. And so securing that initial position will allow me to more efficiently get the submission done instead of using more of like violence of action to get the submission, because you throw something fast enough and hard enough, people will tap out of just they're scared you're going to break their ankle. So if I can slow down, control a position, get it more efficiently, that's what I need to do. So,
cool.
All right.
I like it. I want you guys to be able to share with each other. But you see how we're all on the same level, right? Like sometimes we compare ourselves instead of just realizing that so many of us are on like the same place trying to figure it out, and we just got to talk through things. So many times you show up in the room and we do very little talking. We just drill the motions and then we roll live and we go home. But how do you want to show up now? Just think about it, right? Like it's helped me a lot with my technique. My coaching ability, I feel like, has gone up a lot this year just because I put work into it. So, and it's tough at times, but Haley's up. Yeah. Are you ready for her?
You ready for me to speak?
Well, you know, we never know what's going to come out of Haley's mouth.
It's PG-13 right now, so it's okay. So from that short hook, lang hook, what I need to start doing is looking for different grips to put in my arsenal, just in case of that. Because I've been working with this like reverse fist down motorcycle grip, and I feel for me it finishes the leg locks for me. But in case that never works, it's good to have other grips in your arsenal. And then
so you're going to start looking for more grips?
Start looking for more grips.
Okay.
And then the thing that I took from sustaining is just keeping tight knee pressures and pinching those knees together. So that's what I have for that.
Awesome. So next week, what I want you to think about doing, right? You're going to start looking for more grips. Mm-hmm. You're going to go research video, different ways to finish the ankle lock or the foot lock. Right? Then you're going to write down those grips, then you're going to show up and you're going to start drilling those grips, and the next week what's going to happen? You're going to start increasing your knowledge with those positions, right? So you're good for that week on increasing your knowledge in that.
So the short hook, I noticed I was focusing a lot on the pressure just on the hook and not with the rest of the leg. So being more aware of the whole leg in those positions, or even other positions where I'm just focusing on one area, but it's really important to have the details in the other areas. Because I noticed a huge difference once I tightened the rest of my leg up and engaged that. It made everything a lot tighter.
Cool. We're going to start with what Tyler showed us, double unders, right? Even analyze eventually when you guys drill these things enough, right? Where you feel like you have the most control of getting what you want. Does that make sense? Like right now, I think that if I go here, I'm going to be able to get Derek's posture better, right? Are my elbows and knees working together? Does that make sense? Right? Then, when I'm pulling him back, what type of success am I getting? Am I comfortable here? Can I stabilize this for so long? Right? Rock him back up. Do this a few times. Get your mechanics down, right? Now, Derek's going to put his feet on the mat. Boom. Even when Derek puts his feet on the mat, like how much pressure and control am I keeping and analyzing, right? Can he just back step over? Can he drop his knees down, right? Am I being aware of trying to maintain just a little bit of this and communicating with my partner and having them find little holes in my game? Make sense? So we've double undered. We've analyzed the details. Now I want to wrap up whatever foot that I want to wrap up, right? I'm going to go here. As soon as I go here, now in my mind, I don't want to just do this. Why don't I want to do this? Derek drops his knee. Not that that's the end of the world, but that might be a contingency 2 that I need to have in play. Contingency 1 was that I was lazy, and when I went to push the knee through, I didn't actually like push his knee out so that I could come into the short hook, right? I would rather have option 1, which is me pushing Derek like this and coming into the short hook, than option 2, which is me being lazy like this, Derek dropping down on me, now me having to like push back, fight back up, boom, boom, and now I'm in the short hook. Not that that's bad, but I just had to use some different muscle groups and different energy to get back to the same position where I was just lazy in the beginning, right? So now we're here in the short hook, okay? Now what I want to think about doing is I'm going to knock Derek over here, right? My foot is going to come in to the single leg X, right? I'm going to flare. See the difference there, right? Elbows back. Now, Derek's going to come back up. When Derek comes back up, I'm going back to the short hook. Now he's going to stand up, right? Now, I'm being active here, okay? Now my foot, I can't knock Derek over this way. So I'm going to go here, right? Here. Now I'm going to use Tyler's grip, right? First I use my grip. Now I'm going to use Tyler's grip. Now I'm going to get the finish right here, right? Going belly down, pressure here, right? Now I'm going to use the third grip here, right? So I used 3 different grips. I modified my short hook. I got to test it, right? I got to test single leg X, double leg X, and the butterfly guard elevation. Now I get to analyze all those things, right? So we're going to drill this 5 minutes per person, Then we're going to break into groups of like 5. And you guys are going to talk about the different concepts that you liked and didn't like through this whole series. All right, so Derek's down on his knees. And a butterfly. Boom. Oh, I didn't like that one. Sit back up. All right, I like that one, right? Put the feet down. Boom. All right, move your legs around. Get out of here, right? Am I just kind of controlling, looking, maintaining, right? Boom. Okay, good. Now, shoot. Oh, he dropped the knee down. I was lazy there. Didn't like that. Reset. Where do I have more success? Pushing his knee out. Okay, well, he can't drop the knee down by the time I get the short hook in there. I like that, right? So now I want to knock him over. Boom. Here, single leg X, right? I want the first grip placement that I liked, which is the reaching in one, pulling the arms back, sticking the chest out. Haven't even put my hips into it yet and he tapped, right? Now I want to put my hips into it, so I'm just going to. So now he's going to come back up, but when he comes back up, I want to control the whole position all the way through. Boom, back to the short hook for my safety. He stands up. Push the knee out, right? Now the Tyler's grip. Here, I want the blade to be more on his actual leg because I feel like I don't like this grip here where it's on my forearm. I want it here. Okay, he tapped. I've got control. Under. He tapped, right? Now get your foot free. Right? What's the next contingency that I'm going to start doing? Just as the backup plan. Just make sense? Everyone understands? All right, so butterfly guard, elevate to feet on the mat, grab the ankle, short hook, knock them over, single leg X finish, let them come back up, but let them come back up where you control the whole thing, and then extend them out, finish the ankle lock from there. You got that, Haley?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
Okay, and listen, you don't have to do what I did, right? Again, it's like reading a book. If you only get this far, and this right here is good enough where you're like, when I go home, I'm going to do this the rest of for the next year. I'm going to work on this and this, right? If that's what you gain out of this whole series, and you go next week and next week and next week and do that in your game and have success with that, that matters to me more than trying to master this whole series and then never going and doing any of it. Make sense? I want you guys to leave and do the shit next week and next week and have fun with jiu-jitsu and enjoy seeing these things instead of just getting the whole series done and never doing it again. There's a lot of times we show up to class and we show up to seminars and the shit looks great and it's cool. And you go the next week and you have no clue what it was. So, real quick, just slowly I'll go through it without all the details. Double unders, lift, plant, actively being aware of these things, wrap, right? When I'm here, push the knee out, shoot the short hook, control, foot, hook, just things that I look at when I'm trying to do things. When I'm dropping this knee, right? Here. Then when he comes back up, I want to have control of it the whole time, right? Boom, boom, boom. All right. And now you're going too far, Derek. Okay? Just get in a flow where you feel comfortable doing through the motions and see things and analyze things. Everyone's got it? 5 minutes per person? All right, let's go. This is how I want to break into the groups. I want to do 3 groups of 5. Okay? Derek, you're going to be in one of these groups. So, all right, here's how I want to break this into this. Who's in the bathroom?
I don't know, but I want to be.
Oh, that one girl.
Oh, that one girl, your partner? Stop acting like you're a professor.
Analyze everybody's leg lock game and not their names.
There's the one girl, Haley.
What's your name?
The one girl. Got her. Yeah, I know everyone's name. Whew, yeah, I will say this. The new systems helped me a lot with names.
Names are tough.
All right, well, we're waiting on Mikey Field. All right, here's what I want to think about, okay? I want you guys to think about it like this. So what I want you guys to think about for your group, right? When you guys were going around the room and talking about the different areas that you were liking, right? Like pressure, controlling, finishing, transitions. I want you guys to break into your groups of 5 kind of based off that, right? So if you want to try to talk in your group of 5 more about flowing through transitions, I want you to create a group off that, right? So let's say this group over here is all you guys are focusing on is communicating and working on different transitions from one thing to the next, right? So then you 5 will be over here, and maybe you'll be working from single leg X to double leg X to saddle and you guys will be working together to help each other's transitions and movement better, right? Maybe the group over here will be like, how do we work on our grips? And all 5 of you guys will be discussing your grips and the different grips you can use and the different pressure and the different way that you can get the person to tap. That group over there is working on that. This group over here is working on this. And then maybe this group over here is just wanting to keep it as simple as possible and only wanting to work on just getting one concept of this leg lock, keeping this control and making sure that, hey, can you slide out? Hey, what can you do from this spot? Which way can you roll from this way? Where do I need to tighten things up? Make sense?
Professor, is there a reason why you pointed at us and said keep it simple?
No. There's no other corners of the room besides this one for me to point at. Okay? So, it doesn't have to be exactly like that, but that's a good way to start, okay? Group 1 over here for transitions. Group 2 over there for maybe like multiple grips and finishes. Group 3 over here for keeping things simple and controlling and maintaining things. Make sense? Yes, sir. So kind of like spend 5 minutes real quick, build your group, because for 10 minutes, you guys are going to communicate with each other and work on whatever that group is. Make sense? All right, so build your groups, assemble your Avengers, and then conquer the world. All right, 3 groups of 5, let's go. That's going on the teacher bulletin.
I was like, why would I even student? Why wouldn't I just pull them into my closed arm or something? Like, it took me forever to find those kind of. Right. Yeah, exactly.
The whole lifting thing is great. About somebody straight into log. I always turn it out. So, my straight into log. I like this one. You guys stop it over here. And then this one hits the knee. So if this doesn't stop, this fails. And he goes to roll. I got it here. And this is still stuck here now. So you're just anticipating what he's going to do. Right, so then, how do you set the whole thing up? So you're looking for legs. If he's on the left side or the right side, like what are we doing? So like, now this is important. We've got a frame there to work on. Does that make sense?
And then like, where somewhere you go if I started hopping, you're trying to hop over this leg.
Whatever way for you.
That's
where I'm at. That's what I'm saying. You're not going to figure out that guard how much you have. Or if like he's in my guard, how do I go from there? What's some different ways to try and find that?
When I'm here, I'm going for it, and as he's going to roll, stopping the heel with this hand, and then sliding down. And I got this nice and tight. So you can stop still like that, hold it, and spin on one. Now, if you go into all the stuff, that's
So I'm saying for a way for you guys to get on top.
So
I don't know the best way to get elevated to do that.
right. And it's like
This is standing out because I think I've had a lot of success with that one. When they stand up, and then I just go back.
turn back around, right? Like for me, the reins go here. It's either more into this or out of this. What do I have to do? Well, I have to do first thing I do, I want to drop this clear. I'm not running away. I'm hiding the building. He's turning towards me, but he's not grabbing the leg. Yeah, I'm not stepping. I'm going here. And then I'm pulling this out. Everything on this side. Back and feet on it. And I'm just yeah, that makes sense. Outskirts. And then we would go right into the ankle, go right into the ankle. Okay.
Fine, just like and switching those leg entanglements very quickly, like I feel like they're going to be like more worried about getting those off, and then so they're never going to know what to expect. Like if you're going to switch from the double leg to from the single leg, they never know what's going to come. Especially that really helps me a lot.
When you guys are doing these things and those light bulbs are going off, you need to write those down because those details are what you now next week are going to work on, right? How many people just show up in jiu-jitsu, enter the room, do what they're told, and go home, right? These light bulb moments right here, this is the exact thing that you need when you go home now and you can research. What am I going to research tonight? Bam, there it is. Then what am I going to do next week? Boom, there it is, right? That's why it's important. Are you going to sing a song? I knew, I saw it. Did you see it? Okay. So this is what makes jiu-jitsu fun, right? Everybody kind of knows that when you just like exist and do the same thing, that's where you get burnt out, right? You show up to the room and you're like, it's the same motions, it's the same thing. I'm going to learn from this person and I'm going to do the same thing day in and day out. But this right here is what makes you show up and have fun because all right, the short hook, that's great. Now when I go home, all I got to do is spend, you don't have to spend days and hours doing this stuff. It doesn't take up hours of your life. It takes up 10 minutes, right? You leave here, you go watch a 10-minute video, you show up next week and you're like, not only am I going to learn something from my professor or not only am I going to learn something from another student, I'm going to come in with actually a purpose to elevate myself and elevate my game. So then it's not like, oh, well, I learn a triangle, which my body type's not going to do a triangle, and I'm not a really big fan of a triangle. And then you're going through and you're like, I don't really like it. When you get to actually show up and learn the crap that you want to learn, it's more passionate, right? You enjoy it more. So this is the last stage of the class, for the last hour, okay? Now you guys are going to demonstrate and teach the class, okay? So, get back into the groups of 5 that you had, all right? And the last time we did it, we just had the 2 partners teach, right? And some people hesitated, and some people kind of like got nervous. So this time I want to do it different. I think this will be kind of cooler. Each group of 5 come together, okay? Talk in the group of what you liked, and then go through it together and help each other build it so that when you come out here, you have a more perfected product. Make sense? I think that'll be kind of cooler because now it's not just you by yourself trying to create it. It's you as a team trying to create this final product. But I want you to think about it like this. Start to finish. You're going to show up on the mats and you're going to show, and you want everybody in here to be able to take something away from it, right? Your experience that you have got over the last 3 hours, okay? You want to hand that off to somebody else. Make sense? So think about it like this. You start on your feet, you start in butterfly guard, you start wherever it is, and it should take roughly about 3-minute presentation. okay? And then if you're wanting to be a better leader, if you're wanting to be a better student, if you're wanting to be a better instructor, if you're wanting to teach technique better, right? If your presentation is done in 10 seconds, I elevated the guy, knocked him over, ankle locked him, there you guys go, have a good day. That's fine. Again, I don't care. It's not my journey, it's not my technique. Next week, I'm gonna do and analyze and work the way that I work every day. And you guys are gonna show up the way you show up. Make sense? So, put some actual thought into it and go into in-depth details, right? Of how you're looking at it, of how you're analyzing, of what you took away from it, from start to finish, okay? So each group, each person's gonna have about 3 minutes to demonstrate what they took away from this 3 hours, and then display that to the group. Make sense? So break into groups of 5. You got about 10 minutes for you guys to all build your game plan together, and then we'll circle up and take turns on each group demonstrating their process for the day. All right?
Presenting as a group, or each person in the group presents their own thing.
So,
one guy out of each group give this big long.
no, you're not getting out of this. I know what you want to do. So, each person is going to do a 3-minute demonstration.
So when I don't have to talk about the thing she does, she's just here to help me come
You guys are just going to help brainstorm your thing. So maybe Haley will run through it first. You'll give her some pointers on how she can explain some better details. Then you're up, and then you're up. So 10 minutes for you guys to build your game plan and work efficiently. Otherwise, we're going to send it. But don't say in the beginning of the class, I don't remember what everyone said, but I'm going to go back and look at the video, right? And if it was like, hey, I want to be a better instructor, I want to be better at teaching techniques, I want to be more aware of going over concepts, and then you're done in 30 seconds, then you really didn't do what you're supposed to do.
It's our first time drilling being an instructor.
Well, no, it's not. It's probably Haley's first time. She did run kickboxing good last week. Okay? 3 minutes per person. The floor is yours. And then don't be afraid either to write down something that you see from each person, because each person's going to do something different, explain something different. Okay? So just whatever clicks in your brain, write that down. Otherwise, it's your journey.
So from standing up, right? All right. I'm playing here, and then I like going underneath them, and then keeping those elbows and knee attachments here, right? And then I grab a leg, and immediately I go for the double legs, but you can also go for single legs, and then transition to double legs, single legs, and sweep them from here, whichever you feel comfortable with. But I like the double legs one, and I sweep them from here. And then what I do for my grips is get back here, squeeze those toes together, pinch those toes together, and then I like do this fist down motorcycle grip. So I grab here, right? I grab, it goes here, pinching those legs together, and then get tighter is I will pop my elbow back here and go belly down. I'll get the tap there, and then I'll still work, and then if that doesn't work, what I'll do is I'll do that short hook, lane hook underneath here, and then I'll still keep that reverse or face down motorcycle grip, and just flare out my shoulders. Yeah, I can. Stop here. So playing butterfly, grabbing, reverse, and I grab here, right. This is the fist down reverse motorcycle grip, and I Is that tight? Was that tight? Okay. Okay. And then our transition from short hook, lane grip, one hook, and then right there. So that's what I took away from that class.
Awesome. Who's up next?
When he's out and we're going wherever we're going for, circling and out, I like to get the little cup grip, put my thumb right in the middle of his hand, and I like to turn his thumb to the ground. See where his elbow goes? Big spaces. When they're really strong and the elbow's in, if I turn this just a little, all I need is just enough to shoot my hand in. A little gap. But whenever you're doing this, I'm going to work my way right into a single leg. If he goes tight and he keeps it here, I can push this back. Now I'm in. It's almost impossible for these two bones to be bypassing each other and the elbow to stay here with these muscles not going weak. Okay? If he's turned, he's got a fist here, I can't move that. If his thumb is anywhere here and he goes tight, I can move that. I can do it. So this is where I'm going, usually from a tie. You know, we get here, I grab. Whenever I turn that down, I'm going to step in, get here, single leg up. You know, the whole time, always inside singles. I only do inside singles in jiu-jitsu because I don't want to get guillotined. That's why I don't like to just shoot in this way. If he turns and I go for this, now he's pushing me to the outside. I like to have the grips here. Here in, make sure he hops back once or twice. Don't let him be strong enough to have a post where they're going to throw you. Here, hop back a couple times. I get this way. I'm going to step. I keep this leg. This is going to go straight into leg drag. Cup this. This is important. I want to hug this as tight as I can because he's going to start framing, shooting, neck and trap. Push his face to the ground with your elbow. Once that's there, he has to alleviate that kind of pain. I'm pulling him into me the whole time. Right in the saddle. You can pull for the heel hook. Ooh. Again, the hand fight. Hand fight is everything. Standard single legs. When I'm coming in, if he doesn't hop and I don't have his hands, he's going to put me to the outside. Anybody usually who look about is going to put you to the outside. So here, turn it and slam your shoulder in here. And however you want to do your single leg drop, doesn't matter, just keep this. Right? You step over, in. Really push that to the sky. When I hug this, it is imperative. This is what I want the most. This little butterfly, not real important, because when I push his face to that, I can step out of it. When he starts fighting this hand, his hips are no longer active. So this choke here, he starts going, when he shrimps out, it gives me just enough to step and pull. Okay? That's one I like.
Good details.
Thanks.
Who's up next?
It's just a saddle entry called butterfly. I like to put my head in the chest whenever I go to pull a butterfly, just because this keeps my back rolled. Because if you go flat and pull back, this is not fun. It's really hard to lift people. I like to go head and chest when I'm picking up. Now I'm picking up. On this, I'm just going to pick out. So I want this leg. I'm going to put my hand on that leg. I'm going to drop my opposite leg. I'm going to go underneath it. And sit down and then go to the finish. So it's whatever leg you touch, the opposite leg is what's going to go underneath it. You're just crossing your feet. Go here. Up. I touch this one, I'm going to drop this one underneath it.
I learned something.
Anything that I've had a lot of success with in competition and in the training room is if he's standing and I pull guard, I can do this a couple of different ways. I can either anchor in with like a double ankle sweep, and usually they're going to take 1 foot back when I do this. They're going to take 1 foot back, and whatever foot they take back, the opposite leg is what I'm going to anchor in on. So I'm going to reach, I don't want to reach wide because you can start to take the underhook. So
I'm going to take my head, I'm going to fall to the side. At the same time, I'm going to lift this ankle up into my armpit and shoot my hips up. From here, I want to shoot my hips high and grab, and I'm going to be pulling it down at the same time. Like my hips are hanging on his. From here, I'm going to take double ankle grips, set it into the mat, and then from here I can start to find my way, either taking the short hook here, going here. And like we were saying earlier, it really, we were finding a lot of success with finishing when we curl in, bring everything up, and then start to take it back. And I don't have to move at all. This pressure is enough to make it that. So make sure the blade of your wrist right here is on the back of his heel here. And I don't even have to have much pressure with my legs to finish this. I just need to make space, close that space off with his foot, and then close the rest, and then you'll get a lot of pressure when you start to roll your shoulders back. So I'm making space by rolling, bringing his toes up into my shoulder, and as I roll back, that's enough to finish. I'm tucking my elbow in, and I can go this shotgun grip here, and finish from there. I'll go over the entry one more time. So I can do this off of the double ankle sweep, or I'm here, and as he starts to really pull out of this, I can find my way in here. I'm here, finish this here. I'm just gonna, I like taking my hand to the knee to scoop my wrist back to the heel here. And then I can lock up, pinch, go belly down, pop my chest out and all that.
Big thing for me is like I don't have to do anything from here. I'm waiting for him to move because he's in a dominant position. I'm not in a dominant position. So for me, I want to make sure that I have my elbows and knees in place either on the outside of each other or on the inside of each other, okay? It really just depends on what type of game that you like, right? So for me, I'm just creating this frame so he does not pass my guard. That's first and foremost. If he passes my guard, I can't do anything, right, that I want to play. I'm playing his game instead. So as soon as he comes in, I'm creating this frame, right, whatever side it is. I'm framing off that side, okay? And if I'm framing here, I'm stopping everything that's on this side and I'm attacking on the opposite side, okay? So once he is engaged or I have engaged him, right, creating this frame, now I'm either diving on this foot, like so I'm grabbing and I'm sucking this foot all the way in, getting this up onto the hip here, right? Or you can go shin on shin, right? And you can play here, okay? Kind of like what those guys are doing. All right, I like to go ahead and dive this foot all the way through. That way I'm already setting up. So I'm framing here, and I can even use my foot to kind of frame on the bottom. This foot slides all the way through. I'm coming right into it right away, okay? Now, I can still have this, but just keep in mind like this arm is away from your body. So, controlling him, okay? Then I can come here, right? And I want to make sure that everything is nice and tight, and I'm controlling from transition to transition, from position to position. If it's not tight, then make it tight before you move forward. Does that make sense? Now I'm in control. I control how fast or how slow it moves, okay? So make sure that your transitions are nice and smooth. Make sure that you're in control from here, grabbing, that you're not in any way, shape, or form, right, going to get past. Slide through, make sure that you have good pressure, right? All the grips and everything are nice and you feel comfortable. Moving from position to position, looking for the sweep, okay? So it's just a different take on how to set it up and then how to get your game from there.
This is something I had to work on today because I don't do that much. So what Derek and I worked on here is similar to Tyler. I'm going to put my head in here. I'm trying to grab back here from grasping, like a cable grip, pulling back. And the big thing is when I'm getting here, I even messed that up because I need to get as far back as I possibly can, because it's kind of like lifting whenever you're using a leg extension exercise. I don't want to use just half of my muscle. I want to use the full muscle. So in doing this, as I'm rocking and I'm pulling him back, if I'm coming here and I ended up falling on my back like this is what Derek and I worked on, is coming back and forth so that I'm not staying on my back. Because if I stay flat on my back, then he can start to work his game. So in this setup, I'm coming here and I'm trying to move him to a position where I can really get my legs worked in. So that was the thing we worked on. And we also worked in segments too, Chad, wherever the heck you went. We worked in segments, so we're going down the line with everybody in progression. To see
Awesome.
what our 5 people do.
Hey, I'm learning. I've enjoyed a lot of this, so I hope you guys are, you know? This to me is cool. This is way better than a seminar. So, Andrew, you're up.
When I'm doing this, you can get this, you have a knee shield in, you can open your closed guard and do it. We'll just do it from here, kind of like open guard. So I'm gonna secure this. If I had a gi, I'd be grabbing his gi and breaking him down towards me. All I'm trying to do is create enough space between his lower leg and his upper leg that I can shove my foot in, okay? That's all I need to get that entry. So I'm coming in, pulling him, getting it up, shooting that here. I shoot that through, I'm on my left hip now. Coming, I'm grabbing, getting that there. As I shift my hip back to the right side, that's throwing him over to expose the lower leg, right? So we're here, boom, throwing him over, I got it pinched. Now we have our straight ankle. Let's say I don't finish it for whatever reason, I can roll back a little bit, slide, get my heel hook, and if he continues to roll, as he rolls, I can grab that toe hold and finish it there. So you can have 3 transitions there from that one entry. You can do that for many other entries, but so one more time I'm here. I'm gonna come in, break him down, get that through, boom, here, lock it, heel hook, good enough? Good.
Revelation today is just keeping everything tight in here, how much easier that's going to make this when you finish. Because if I leave this loose in here, that gives him a lot more movement to either roll out of it, pull his leg out, anything like that. So whenever I'm in here with this, I want to keep the knees tight, whether I have the short hook and I'm here, I want to keep that tight. I want to keep that pressure on it. That just makes it that much easier for me to finish that. If I'm staying loose with this, I got to put a lot more pressure onto that, and it gives him a lot more room to escape. Same way, if I'm just going with this position, keeping this all tight in here, getting the, sorry, it's all right. Keeping this tight in here, it makes this a lot easier for me to finish this by just keeping the knees tight, everything squeezed, and then it just lets me finish that move a lot better. And one thing with this too, keeping this tight in here, keeping that good knee line, it's going to make it a lot harder for him to get that foot out if he wants it, and to escape, or to foot lock me, or you can short hook it, and short hook it, and then you don't have any feet exposed at all, keeping it easy.
All right. So bouncing off what Steve said, I think we went this direction mainly because a lot, like the 3 bigger guys kind of had similar aha moments in the class, and so mine was I'm just going to finish it off with the grips that kind of an aha, just a different style of grips that I learned from you guys and just picked up from the class itself. But first it is the grip down, like Steve said, just being able to protect my ankle so that I don't end up in an ankle lock war and losing that ankle lock war a lot.
So normally from butterfly guard, I'm really looking at the shoulder crunch. So this is what I normally do. So I have a shoulder crunch here, and I'm either going for the sweep of this arm bar. So I have the arm bar right here, or I will shoulder crunch, sweep. And when I sweep or I'm doing anything from butterfly guard, I'm scooting my butt in usually, getting an elevate, and I'll sweep here. But so that's really all the only 2 things I had previously. So today, what we added on to, and I was thinking about what am I realistically going to do after we get our ankle lock. from this original position where I'm hooking, elevating using his feet. I get my landing hook or my short hook, whatever I want to call it, and I do my sweep. How am I going to realistically finish this? My favorite ankle lock to do in general is not even to hook through, is just a pinch. So what I will do is I will take my elbow and I will pinch it all the way to my side, and I will work my way back. So I'm pinching his toes, and then I'm going to turn my head this way. So I'm going here, maybe I'm working my shoulder crunch, working my arm bar, just to get him off, so I get my double underhooks. Scoop in, short hook, sweep. And I'm going to go in, I'm pinching my knees together. I have my short hook, and I'm pinching his toes. I really want to work on pinching his toes. I don't necessarily have to go all the way through. I can keep this arm out and pinch. And then I was thinking about a heel hook, and Coach Chad was showing me that I can also get my heel hook from here. So what I was doing originally is I was trying to kind of short step the heel hook. What Coach Chad was showing me is that I want to go all the way back and get a bigger bite on my heel hook before I can move over.
Awesome.
So one of the things I've been doing a lot, especially since I worked in an ADCC, is I've been working on a lot of trying to chain offense to offense and work from lower body to upper body back and forth. One of my favorite things I've found is when passing, if Joe stops this in any way or against his legs, the quickest way for me to get back to offense here is I'm just going to post on him and a back step. I'm going to collect his legs into a saddle. And it took me a long time to be willing to throw heel hooks because I was afraid of it. And so I was attacking his top end. And so we worked on a grip today that works really well for this. So I'm going to collect this. I'm going to keep my knees tight. And now I'm going to use this reverse grip. I'm going to pinch my elbow down, pinch my knees in, shove this through, and now I can finish. I was trying to just do a regular ankle lock from here, and the angle was really bad, the heel goes through. So, as I roll to the side, and I pinch, now I'm kind of creating the pressure across the shin. When I shove this all the way through, now I get a really good lock through. And then what we was working on today, we just roll on the chest back as a really good solid finish.
So I do like to do single leg X, and I'm just doing it from open guard, and it's to get them down so that I can look up. That I really liked going to that ankle lock because I don't work them a lot to get to those positions or don't think I'm in those positions. So when I am doing a single leg X from open guard and she's coming in, I've been trying very hard to make sure to keep those points of contact, keep those hooks, and rather than doing shin to shin, for me, I like to just, kind of like you were saying, get under all the way and just smoothly get it up. So you're going about single leg X, and we're doing the double, and then point it out, put it easily, hop over this leg, push it down. So trying to use, and you're talking about pressure and keeping the accuracy, keeping that pressure.
Something I like about it, a lot of times I would lay down, and I think you become a lot more vulnerable. So I kind of like trying to keep points of contact for myself. And so I kind of like to be here. And I'm going to try to kick things out, slide in, capture. And once I get in here, rearrange whatever I need to do to get there. Exactly if I can't catch that for whatever reason. But I know I like sing too, though, if you want me to sing.
Go for it.
I'm sitting on the mountainside.
You and Derek should start a collaboration.
It won't hold no beer.
Derek?
So I was thinking if we were doing some of these positions, like what are some of those like task-based games that you can get into from there? And so I was trying to think of, just engineer from bottom up. So if he's on his knees and I've got my butterflies, maybe 2 minutes staying in the same positions, but I'm trying to send it and get him elevated. And the only thing he's allowed to do is to kind of give me some heat and not let me do it, right? Because a lot of times I would get in here and I'd try to get the first one and he was feeling, so I'd straighten it back out, and then over and over again, just not getting it, and then finally getting one, right? And just for 2 minutes, like if he gets here and puts his feet down, or if he stays up, doesn't matter. Like I won and we got to go again. So just getting the concept of how do I get him elevated when he's trying to stop me from doing that. And then the other one I was thinking about was when I get him up there and he puts his feet down, like being really aggressive with my hooks and my elbows in, keeping that connection to where he's not able to move. So maybe 2 minutes of I get him up, he comes down with his feet, and then he stands up, and now we're playing this for 2 minutes, right? He's allowed to either backstep, hop over, whatever, and I'm just trying to keep my hooks engaged for 2 minutes. So he goes, and I'm just trying to stay with him, pulling, pushing, being aggressive, that kind of thing. And then the last one I was thinking of for same thing, task-based games, really limiting his ability to, he's not allowed to do a whole bunch of different things, but if I start with, say, a short hook or whatever, he's allowed to defeat my short hook and force me to go to other positions, but the only 3 positions I'm playing are either single X, he pushes that off, short hook, or traditional X. In just 3 minutes or 2 minutes of me transitioning through there. But at any time, like I've got the sweep, I can take it and then we gotta like reset or whatever, and then just switching positions to really like get comfortable, like working through all those 3 or 4 different stages of like the stuff we were doing today, if that makes sense. So not necessarily new stuff, but I was trying to think of what I can use to get better at what we work today.
No, I like that, because now some of these people that have gyms can do some of those things.
The thing I really enjoy doing lately is getting to what they call the arm saddle. I don't know if anybody's too familiar with this. Somebody else mentioned they like to get to the shoulder crush. I think it was Joe. Yeah. And that's one of my favorite positions too, especially from like the half guard or knee shield. Get to that shoulder crush and then replace this arm the same direction with your knee, right? Pushing the head away, getting to what they call the arm saddle. Throw this leg over into the hip. You're controlling either to the far hip. This one can bite up into the neck or to the armpit like this right here. You can start getting a lot of really good, more straight arm bars, all kinds of really good attacks from here, okay? And just something I realized is starting in this butterfly position, you can kind of create a dilemma between all that leg lock attack stuff we did today, right? Getting in here and tight, lifting them, and starting to threaten this. But if they're wise to it and they don't want you to attack this, they're putting their hands down on the mat just like this. It makes it so easy to go straight to that shoulder crush and pull them down in and start going to that arm saddle attacking position, right? So that was one thing I really picked up on today that I know I'm going to apply, is just using that butterfly position, pulling him in tight, and that dilemma right here. If I go for the legs and he stuffs it, I'm going straight to that shoulder lock and starting to transition into that arm saddle position. But more specifically, something I found out today too, is whenever I got to, I think it was the shoulder hook, right? So I'm in single legs, he peels it off, I go to the shoulder hook, and he starts to put this knee in, yeah, just like this. It's so annoying. And what I was doing today was, and I don't even know if this is right, it's just a little tip I saw. Andrew kind of pointed it out to me, I loved it, was I've been doing this, I've been throwing this leg over, and I kind of felt stuck here a lot of times. Once I get to here, I'm like, well, what do I do? And Andrew kind of pointed it out to me, I love it, that I can kind of reach back and go straight to its fold here. So once I fall over here, I'm keeping it all tight. You can go to the heel hook here, I believe, too. But the toe hold feels so powerful here. Once I get this grip, I can start pushing it straight towards his butt, and it's an easy tap. So that was just something I went over, because I get crushed like that a lot. I get to this position, they start throwing that knee down on top of me, and I throw this over, and then I end up just losing this position or getting snatched some other way. But I love that transition here. To the toe hold, push it in. Okay? And just, not only just that specific technique, but really what I pulled out from today was that dilemma. That butterfly, friend the legs, if they stuff it, right onto that shoulder clamp, into the Troy bar kind of setup, the arm saddle. So that was kind of my favorite thing from today, but I know I'm going to apply.
Nice. Is that everyone? I appreciate you guys coming here. As you guys grow, I want you to just think about a couple things, okay? I learned a lot of little things. It was cool to watch you guys teach, you know, like it's hard coming out here and exposing yourself, being vulnerable. But the big thing that I want you guys to think about, okay, is how many people in here rushed some of that last process, right? Like how many people kind of just in the nerves or uncertainty, right? And sometimes it's easy to do that. Like I've done that many times when I show up to a new place and I don't know the students and I kind of like throw out a ton of technique and I don't actually breathe, and that's just part of it. Sometimes take a breath and realize that you just have to explain the details and not be afraid. And I know it's so hard in your mind to say, everyone's watching me, I'm gonna choke, I'm gonna fail, but process through that, be vulnerable, and I think people will respect you and appreciate you more with your honesty and just saying, I fucked up, than trying to fake it, if that makes sense. Okay? So a big thing that as a coach and as an instructor and as somebody trying to help others and build the sport, right? There's two things that our pride and our ego can do to us a lot of times, okay? We can either go the one route, which I've dealt with a lot in my life, which is anytime that you bring something that makes that person feel vulnerable, they attack back at you, and then they want to basically fight you in a sense of like verbally making you feel smaller, right? I had a student on Thursday message me and he just said, hey, Chad, can you be a little bit more involved with us, you know? And I do. During the week after teaching 15, 16 classes, I get very disconnected. I get very kind of like in this existing motion. I'm human, just like all of you, okay? And I don't think about these things, but to me it was cool that this student went out of his way, which I'm sure that's kind of uncomfortable sometimes for you guys to speak truth. You live in an environment sometimes where truth isn't allowed to be spoken, and that sucks. And there's no way that we can grow if we can't really speak truth. You should be able to say, hey, I need you here as my coach right now. Hey, I need more detail, or hey, this doesn't work for my body type. I need this to work for me. And we figure that out together. So he messaged me and he just said, hey, can you be a little involved when we're live rolling? Can you kind of show up for the students more? And when they're live rolling, actually pick out some of these details and help fix some things. Something I didn't really actually think about. I grew up in a network where it was, here's the details, go live roll and kill each other. And I never actually sat down for a moment. My ego and my pride for a moment wanted to say, you know what, screw you, I'm the coach, right? But then when I actually said, you know what, he's got a point. I do need to, if that's a way that he will get better, why not show up for him and his friend and actually take the time as they're live rolling? And then why am I not doing that for all my students, right? And it's tough. It's tough to be on 100% of the time, but like that's one thing in my mind that I need to start doing, right? That's what I went home and wrote down.
Building on that, there's nights when I don't know what I'm going to teach. There's things that are on my mind, but it might be a different group of, I might have 10 white belts and 1 blue belt there. Might have 10 blue belts, 2 white belts. And it changes exactly what I'm going to do. So we warm up with 2-minute rolls, and I'll walk around and watch what everybody's doing, and I'll make a mental note of who got caught the most or what position they were in the most, and that's how I teach them.
Yeah.
6 people got armbar tonight. Tonight we're doing armbar defense. Or we're going to do armbar entries. We're going to do something with the armbar. And, you know, they make it easier to work to watch it because you can see where everybody's failing or the bulk of the classes failing. And it's my little cheat code on what am I going to teach tonight whenever I had this big plan set out for the 20-person class. 9 people showed up and they're all white belts. okay, we gotta go somewhere else. So I constantly change in my mind, depending on who showed up. But then I just watched them. All right, nobody could get out of guard tonight. We're working on our
Definitely. I do that a lot. Sometimes I show up and I try to build off the room, but then after I show it, sometimes I disconnect from the room, and I've noticed myself doing that. So that was my big revelation that I had this last week, was like, I need to figure out how to start showing up in this area for my students in a better way. So just the more that you guys can speak truth to each other and everything in the sport, the more we can grow. And if you're in an environment that doesn't allow that, then it's really sad, because only one person grows, right? And you're going to have more success in this room today, like you guys did, by everybody doing it than just one person doing it. Make sense? All right, so I appreciate you guys being here. All right, Tyler Gordon. Thank you, sir. I need to do pictures too. Robert. Is this your first one or second one? Second. Okay, I can't remember. Thank you, sir. Andrew. Was it worth it?
Yeah, of course.
Scott. We still got storage? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Elijah. Thank you, sir.
You're about to get a lot more messages.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Michael Donaker. I guess I can't just say Michael. There's two Michaels. Because both of you guys signed up as Mike. And I wasn't sure if I should put that. Ernie, where you at? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Dustin. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Marlena? Huh? That one girl? Thank you. Good job. That other girl? Thank you. Michael Field? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for being here. Steve? I don't know if I messed that up. All right, Brandon T. Wells.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you guys for being here.
I signed up late, so I'm like, yes.
Ah, I didn't get your certificate. Oh, did you sign up? When did you sign up?
Like Wednesday or Thursday.
Damn.
You're fine.
I made one mistake in my life.
Oh my God.
I'm going to send it to you.
It's not a big deal.
I'm going to get it.
You don't have to backtrack. You say, I'm ready for this.
I'm going to send it to you.
No, like, I understand because
You didn't pass.
I'm the same person.
No, nothing. I'm going to get it to you. I'm sorry, sir.
1 star review.
Huh?
1 star.
One sorry?
1 star.
1 star, yeah. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're good.
All right, so
I would forget to say that.
Joe, hold Blake's certificate. Don't put that on recording. Cancel the video.
I think this is honestly the best learning environment I've ever been to. Not that Chad couldn't teach the class and us all learn something, but he allowed us to learn together and added specific details as we went. So we got lots of different perspectives on the material we were covering today, leg locks. Also dialed in some finer details of some of the moves that I can utilize in my own gym to help my students get better and also improve my game as I go along. So overall, highly recommend coming to one of these mastery classes. It'll change your game, and I'm going to look forward to the next one.
Hi, this is Scott Zobers from Odd Fellows over in Bethalto, Illinois. And I just want to let you know, if you're going to considering doing a BJJ Boost class with Chad Hawkins, I'd do it. It's a very informative, engaging, and interactive with the other students that come on in and try to learn to improve your skills. So check it out. I recommend it.
This class, what I thought of it was well worth the money. I feel like my game, and I feel like other people's games as well, has improved it because it goes really deep. It asks some really deep questions and like how to improve your game, and how like when you go home and research, how that research will go into your technique, how you come in and show up in class and improve daily on that one technique. So for me, it was well worth the money, and I hope you guys will enjoy the class too, and you sign up for another one.